Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to Media Day. The Phoenix Suns 2024-25 season is upon us, and today we'll be hearing from both the players and coaches as they get set for training camp. But before we get started, we wanted to offer our condolences to Al McCoy's family as the legendary voice of the Suns recently passed away. Hi, everyone. I'm Amanda Flugrad alongside Tom Leander. And Tom, we know just how much of a beloved figure McCoy was in the community, the relationships that he built with the players, the coaches, and also the media members. You have a long-standing history with him. Describe your relationship and the type of player or type of person he was, I should say.
Yeah, well, first I was a fan of Al McCoy and the Phoenix Suns growing up, so I listened to all of his great calls. I mean, he brought NBA basketball to life for me. He painted the picture for me and all the rest of the Suns fans. I was also a ball boy for the Suns, and I got to set up the press table for him and Stan Richards, who was the public address announcer at the time. So I got to know him a little bit personally, and then to work alongside of him here with the Suns was just, it was a dream come true. And growing up listening to him, I actually kept a glossary of some of his creative terms and catchphrases. So I still have that glossary. And then I went to school in Los Angeles at Loyola Marymount, listened to Chick Hearn. So those were like the two announcers that I grew up emulating. And again, just looking back on the memories of working with Al and just watching him, not only, with the fans and professionally, but the respect that he has and has had from players and coaches. And we saw that in his last public appearance with head coach Mike Budenholzer. So, having that kind of relationship and respect is what everybody wants as a broadcaster.
Great. Well, thank you. Now we're going to go to the podium where we have Suns owner, Mercury owner, and Valley Suns owner Mat Ishbia.
Thank you for being here. We appreciate it. We're excited about the Suns season. It's been a great summer. We can go through a lot of those things in a second. But first, very important, obviously the passing of Al McCoy, a legend here in Phoenix, 51 years with the organization. I got a chance to know him a little bit and spend some time with him. Just a great, great person, a great representation of our organization. And so obviously he'll be missed. We are going to have a band on our jerseys this year with say Al on it. So that will be out and to commemorate, his legacy a little bit, so we could always remember him and think about him for the whole season. So so you guys will be aware of that. Sad we couldn't bring him a championship while he was live, but I know hopefully we'll get one with him on our jersey, and I know he'll be watching from above. So he'll be missed, and his family is obviously still part of our family here. So that's the first thing I wanted to address. Second, the summer was great. I'm going to talk about the Suns in a second, but the Mercury summer was great too. The Phoenix Mercury, obviously WNBA All-Star Game was great. We had 3 gold medalists with the Mercury. We more than doubled our win total, went up to 19 wins, played in the playoffs. Now we're getting ready for the next season. So we're really proud of the summer with the Mercury. And then with the Suns, I thought it was an amazing summer. So, last time I talked to you guys after the season, obviously we were all disappointed with how the season ended. I think we had an amazing summer. A bunch of different things we can talk about. Let's first start about 2 of our superstars being not only gold medalists, but also key parts of the gold medal team. The stars out there doing some amazing things. Devin and Kevin were both awesome. I got a chance to go over there and watch them along with the women play the last couple of games over there, which was really great. And so that's a real great symbol of the Suns, and seeing 2 of our superstars bring home the gold for our country was really cool, really a special moment for all of us. So having 5 Olympians here in Phoenix was really special. So that was great, seeing those guys do great things. Obviously, on top of that, Coach Bud. So we got a great coach. We feel great about Coach Bud. He's been amazing. I know he did a press conference already. You guys been part and heard him talk, but he's been, we have really high expectations for him and what he's going to accomplish here. And to be honest with you, he's exceeded those so far, and we haven't started yet. So, but we still have a lot of things to do. But everything he's been doing, the details, the leadership, the execution, super, super happy with Mike and Coach Bud. Let's easily call him that from now on. But he's just been great, and a great leader, great CEO of the organization from a basketball part, and doing great things. So love having him. I think that's going to be a big difference the way he plays. I know he'll be up here later. He'll talk about basketball stuff with you more. But once again, that's a big part of our summer. The other big part of the summer to remember is, part of our strategy, and James does an amazing job, Josh does an amazing job about, retaining our free agents. So obviously, Grayson was at the end of last year, but Grayson, Royce, Josh, Bull, Damian, Lee, all these guys coming back, wanting to be back. Those are the guys we wanted to bring back. They wanted to come back. We brought them back, and they understand what we're about here. So that was really important to us. And then obviously going out, getting 3 great free agents, Mason, Monte, and then of course Tyus as well. And these guys had options elsewhere, and most time they probably had options making more money elsewhere. So that's really a tribute to hopefully the Phoenix Suns organization, but also the city of Phoenix, our fans. They talked to me about that when we were talking to those guys, and our players and our coach, right? Like they want to be here, and so that was a big thing. We really loved the team, and then obviously the draft, was spectacular with getting those 2 guys that we coveted those 2 guys, and then we got some draft capital as well. So overall, I think it's been a great summer. You know, if you want to compare what we could have done and what we did, I feel amazing about the team, where we're at, very similar to what I felt, at the end of last year. I told you I thought we were in a great position. We didn't have the year we wanted. We're ready. We're ready to compete at the highest level this year. And so that's what Bud's about. That's what, James and Josh and me and our whole organization, the players, we're about competing at the highest level, and we're going to put forth that effort. And so competing and getting better every day. And the last thing I'll say before turning it over to the questions is, like, when I bought the team, it wasn't that long ago still. It was just, 18 months ago, February of 23, it talked about the 4 pillars, about building a great culture, fan experience, community, and winning. And all 4 of those things, I mean, you can talk about the TV. This is our 2nd year being on TV for everybody, and I see other NBA teams are starting to follow. And like, we're trying to be leaders here in Phoenix. We want to be the best organization in sports, and I think we're on our way. You can't be the best organization in sports without winning, without competing for championships, right? So we understand that, and that's obviously a big part of it. And you guys get to hold me accountable to that and hold our team accountable to that, and that's great. But we are going to compete and get better every day, and hopefully you guys will feel that, and hopefully you'll be proud of the Phoenix Suns this year, just like we plan on being as well. So I'll pause and turn it over to some questions. Anyone has questions, and we'll go from there.
Mark, go ahead, Mark.
Hey, Matt. Good morning. Mark McClune, Arizona's Family Sports.
How are you?
Good. Good to see you. As you approach the offseason, specifically after the end of last season, what were your priorities heading into the summer, and what would you like to get fixed heading into this season?
Well, I think the priority was, we got to get our team in position to succeed at a higher level than we did last year. Last year we won 49 games, but you don't get a championship for winning games during the regular season. And we want to compete at the highest level. And so I think the word compete, which you'll hear us talk about a lot today, is something that I don't think we did at the highest level last year, competing and going at it at the level that we want to be. And that's not just the players, that's coaches, that's ownership. All of us could do better, and I think that was a big thing. We made a change at coach, as you guys know. We got a coach that I think is I think our past coach was a great guy and a great coach. This coach is, I think, the best fit for us. And so that was a big priority. But then also, resigning our players was a huge thing, which I talked about already. We like our team. I love our team. I think we have a great team. And I told you guys that a lot of people love our team. And you're starting to see other teams start to make adjustments. And I think we're all in. We believe in our team. We believe we have the ability to compete at the highest level with any team in the NBA. And so I think that was the big thing, is to, another year of continuity, get everyone healthy going into the season, get a coach that we felt like was going to be leading our organization, and I think we executed on all of it. Thank you.
Hey, Matt. Gerald Bourget, PHNX Sports. Good to see you. I wanted to ask, I know you're probably sick of asking or answering questions about this, the second tax apron, but when you look around the league, you've seen a lot of other teams make moves to kind of duck that or get beneath that. You guys have had a very different approach to that. I just wanted to get kind of your philosophy on that and how you feel that you're going to be vindicated with that particular approach to the tax apron.
Yeah, so the second apron is obviously a very hot topic in the NBA these days, and there's 2 parts to it. There's second apron and the restrictions of building a team that people like to talk about, and then there's the significantly higher luxury taxes that are in there. And then with the higher luxury taxes, if you're in the tax, you don't get the money that other teams get. So there's a lot of things that other owners and other people are thinking about. For us, we're about winning. And so I don't think, I walk around Phoenix, I spend time in Scottsdale, Phoenix, all these, no one's come up to me and been like, hey, I really hope you lower your tax bill, just doesn't come up. It's been weird, Nobody cares, and they shouldn't care, because the luxury tax is not anyone else's job. It's my decision and my job to deal with it. And so we want to put the best team out there. We are not going to spend money frivolously, but if we can compete to win a championship, we are going to do that, and we're going to go all in with that. In the second apron, are there restrictions? Absolutely. I understand them inside and out. James does an amazing job. Josh, they know it. They know it. We understand what it is. And some people are shying away from that, and some people are shying away from the tax, and we're not shying away from either. and how am I going to be vindicated? Well, there's only one way to say we had a lot of success, and that's win a championship. And we're going to compete and get better every single day here in Phoenix to go for a really lofty goal. And so we're not, being in the second apron. Like, I don't know if there's a vindication. Like, the truth is we're going to have to deal with that stuff. And we're going to deal with those new rules and we already have to deal with the way we trade players and move players around right now. And I think we're doing all right. We had a pretty good summer with it. Everyone didn't think we could do some of those things. So I think there's a lot of bark, maybe not as much bite as people want to think, but don't tell the other owners and other teams, because we're good with where we're at right now, and we're ready to compete the way we have it. Thank you.
Yes, Dwayne Rankin, Arizona Republic. Good to see you, Matt.
How are you?
All right. Couple things. One, where are you guys at with Durant and his extension?
So we love Kevin. I think it came up this summer talking about all these things. Like, everyone talks about Kevin. Kevin Durant loves it here. We love Kevin Durant. We talk to him and his agent, Rich Kleiman, all the time. There's different restrictions, but we don't really go through contract extensions publicly. But I'll tell you this, Kevin loves it. We love Kevin. We plan on Kevin being here, and nothing's changing with that.
Okay. Just a quick follow. I know that obviously Friday, the lady, Andrea Trichin, had a press conference out here talking about the organization. And I know obviously you came here to clean that up. So I'm curious, how's your reaction to what she said about the organization?
Yeah, so I think we already made comment on it. I'm not going to get into that. Today's about the Suns. I think you saw our statement about it, and I think we all understand what that one's about. So we'll just focus on the Suns today, but I appreciate it. I can always answer other questions separately.
Kellen?
Go ahead.
Matt, Kellen Olson, Arizona Sports. Good to see you. I wanted to get your just a look at your process in July in regards to Tyus and signing him. What were your guys' initial conversations like with him, and then at what point in the month did you realize you had a real shot at signing him despite the pay cut he had to take?
Yeah, so Tyus is a great guy, point guard, leader, winner. His wife went to Michigan State, so we had a little connection there, so we used a little recruiting there. But his wife, his kids, we're talking about Phoenix as a great city, a great environment, family environment. I understand it's going to be really tough for someone to take less money to come play for an organization, but an opportunity. He got a chance to talk to Coach Bud. He talked to Kevin and Devin and Brad and not only Grayson and all these guys. He knew Grayson from college, obviously. All these guys know what we're about here, and they were able to communicate that. So I think it was a team effort in recruiting him. Josh, James, Bud, hopefully myself, hopefully I didn't mess it up. We all did together to make it great. And the truth is, I think it's going to be a great opportunity for Tyus to not only lead, but be a starter, compete for a championship. And yes, he took less money. But you know what? Money is just a number right there until, how happy are you? How happy is your family? There's a lot of pieces to it. And then also it puts him in an opportunity. He's still a free agent after this year, which we'll have to start that recruiting process again, after this year or during the year to try to get him to stay. But the truth is, we want what's best for our players. And if he ends up leaving after this year, after we compete at the highest level, we understand that. But recruiting him was a big part of it. When did we think we were going to get him? We didn't think we had a chance, to be honest with you, at the beginning. And so, but spending time with it, that didn't mean we didn't make the calls, didn't mean we didn't spend the time, but, you have a 1% chance of something that grows to 5, 10, 20, 30, and all of a sudden you're we might be in the game here. And, but I'm so impressed with Tyus Jones, the time I got to spend with him and his family. He's a winner, and he won a championship at Duke. He's the kind of guy we want here and we need here, and I think he's the best all-time assist-to-turnover ratio in the history of the NBA, which is phenomenal. I think Monte Morris is second. So we got some good point guards. We'll handle the ball and do some great things with Coach Bud. So we're really excited about Tyus. Thank you.
Matt, Richard Sines, Fox 10. Good to see you.
How are you?
Good. Kind of a two-parter here. I want to piggyback off to what you were talking about with Tyus. It's obvious, he took less money to come here, and that says a lot about the culture you guys have developed here. But what does that say about him as a person, where winning is first for him? And what was it like to see Kevin Durant and Devin Booker win the gold medal and play with that level of passion and want to win?
Yeah, so Devin and Kevin wasn't surprising me. I know how much they care about winning a championship, winning gold medal. They're winners. I got a chance to spend a little time with them over there and see what they're about. And that's not surprising me. I got a chance to spend, a year and a half with both of them really so far since I bought the team basically. And so spent a lot of time with them. That wasn't surprising. Those guys are winners. And they, what they talked about is we want to bring a championship to Phoenix now, right? And so that's for sure there. And Tyus, a lot of people talk about, maybe I'll take a little bit less money. Talk about some people in the, taking a couple $1,000s less is a big pay cut in anybody's world, in the real world. And so if someone take millions and millions of dollars less to be part of an organization, it shows that Tyus is, one, a winner, 2, he understands the big opportunity in front of him. And 3, it's a kudos to our players, our coaches, and the culture we're trying to build here in Phoenix and the fans. Like, he's like, I want to play, I want to compete for a championship. I don't want to go to like, and so I'm really excited about Tyus. I've loved getting to know him, and I think he's going to be a great, great part of our organization. And hopefully it's not just this year.
Brandon?
Hey, Matt. Brandon from the Business Journal.
How are you?
You mentioned the TV deal. Now going into year 2, I was just wondering, what were your thoughts on year 1, and is there any changes or improvements that you kind of expect with this kind of going forward?
You know, we loved it. We thought it was great. Like, to me, it's not my team. It's the city's team. It's the fans' team. And so for them not to be able to watch the game is crazy to me. And so the TV deal's been spectacular. You know, there's nothing perfect about it, obviously, but we're really happy that all our fans can watch the Suns and the Mercury on TV without having to pay for it, without having to search for it. It's pretty simple and easy. And so I think it's been a great success. I know other teams, NBA teams, have followed and will continue to follow. And hopefully we set the path. Like, we want to be the best franchise in sports. We're not just trying to win one championship. We're not trying to just be good for a year or two. Like, we want to be the best franchise in sports. And that means winning, of course, which I know everyone wants to talk about, but also means on the business side, being a leader, making decisions. Sometimes it's, as Gerald talked about, the second apron, like, we're gonna do things differently. We're not following everybody else. We're gonna do what we think is best at all times. And sometimes I'm gonna be right, sometimes we're gonna be wrong. But no one will ever question how much we care about the fans, about this organization, about winning, about the culture. Like, no one will ever question that, and the TV deal is a big example of that.
Brendan?
Hey, Matt. Brendan Clean, Locked On Suns podcast. You mentioned a lot of things you've been able to do, obviously getting Kevin right away, the TV deal, summer moves, the coach, and the 4 pillars you reference a lot. I'm just curious, kind of an open-ended one for you. What's the biggest thing you feel like you've learned as an owner getting to be in this world for almost 2 years now?
You know, I've learned a lot. So first off, the most important thing as an owner is you got to get great people around you. So I get, credit for some stuff. I get, talk bad about some stuff. But the truth is I have a great team. Lucky to have great people around me when you talk about James Jones, Josh Bartelstein, Bud now, but also players. But as an owner, the biggest thing is like, you have to put your team, just like in any business, put your team and your organization in position to succeed. Like, I'm not trying to be the best player or the best coach or the best GM. I'm trying to be the best owner. My job is to be the best owner in sports, which means give them the resources, build the WNBA Mercury facility, give the fans TV opportunity. Like I'm not watching a player's, jump shot and deciding that's the kind of guy we want. I got James, I got Josh, I got the scouts, I got people that do that stuff. But my job is to give them all the resources. And if they say, hey, meet with Tyus, like, let's talk about the future and opportunity. Like, I'm love to jump in and help. Like, and so I learned that it's a team game. Just like in any sport, you can't have one superstar and win. You can't have the best coach and win. You can't have the best player and win. You have to have great players, great coach, great GM, great CEO, great owner, great marketing people, great concession people. Like, we're a team. And so I think I've learned that even more. And so it's all about the team, it's all about the people, and I'm very lucky to have great people here, and I think that's why we're able to compete for a championship on all levels. And that's what our goals are, and we're not going to get there every year like I talked about, but we're going to compete at the highest level.
Doug, last question.
I'm Doug Haller at The Athletic.
Hey, Doug.
You mentioned that Mike has already exceeded expectations. Can you just explain how he has gone about doing that?
Yeah, well, his care factor is off the charts. So, like I just talked about, I have to care. I care at the highest level. I care about when I walk out here. If a fan is wearing a Booker jersey, I care about, how do we make that special for them? Bud cares about every detail of every aspect. You'll see it in our practice facility. Like, he likes, I want my office here. I want to have this. I want the pictures on the wall. There's no detail too small for this guy. He's in the gym. He's not waiting for the season. He's been in the gym. I call him. I'm in Michigan a lot of times, and I'm calling him at 9, 10 a.m., and he's here. And he's ready. Like, he's not, like, Bud cares. His care factor's off the charts. He's a wonderful man, an extremely hard worker. And he's also the leader. Right? Like, he has great leadership skills, and he's I can take direction from him just like Josh or James can, and just like the players will. And we love that. We want people to come in and step up and outperform the role. And like, again, we haven't won any games, haven't lost any games, so it's premature. But what I'll tell you is he's been everything I thought he would be and then some. He set expectations, he's executed, he's done everything we wanted and then some. And so he's been a great, great fit. And I'm excited for you guys to see him through this season and beyond.
Thanks, Matt.
Great. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Suns CEO Josh Bartlestein. We'll start with questions.
Morning, everyone.
Mark McClune, there you go.
Hey, Josh, Mark McClune, Arizona
see you.
Family Sports. Good to see you. As you approach the offseason, what was the priorities for getting things fixed heading into this season?
Yeah, well, James, Matt, and I, we spend a lot of time talking. I think it was really optimizing our team. We don't look at necessarily positions, but how do we bring out the best in our team? We have a great core, obviously, with Kevin Book, and Brad, and Nurk back, and Grayson. We wanted to re-sign Royce, but then it was how do we optimize those guys and play the right way? And it comes down to style. We want to play faster, more ball movement, get more threes up. And then how do you get players to fill those roles? So that's where Monte came in, and Mason. Obviously, we just talked a ton about Tyus and how he played that role. So it's kind of going in kind of a sequencing order of all year, right? Our scouts spend all year on the road talking about college players, NBA players, how to make the best version of the Phoenix Suns. And then it gets closer to the draft and free agency, and you got to execute and bring these guys here, and we're really happy with what we did.
Hey, Josh, Gerald Bourget, PHNX Sports. Good to see you. I just wanted to ask you, because I know last year the Big Three didn't get to play as many games together as you guys would have liked, but you're bringing back kind of your top 6 guys and filling in some of those holes with the offseason additions. Just when you look at it in totality, how much does that continuity kind of situate you guys better for this season?
It matters a ton. We were just talking about it. You look back over the last 18 months in building this team, continuity matters. They know each other. They've played together. They know where they like the ball. I think we've added a lot of depth, too, going back to adding, Grayson and Nurk about a year ago, and those guys being here now and not just coming in the weekend before training camp starts. So we feel like we had a core that stayed intact, that played together, that had success. And then adding those new guys around them, I think will only make it better. And they've been working out, all summer long. We've had a great open gym. That goes a long way to hitting the ground running come tomorrow.
Yes, Dwayne Rankin, Arizona Republic. How you doing, Josh?
Hey, Dwayne.
All right. A couple things. One, I'm curious, figuring out ways to get guys with the restraints that you have. How much of that has been just a collective effort of just digging and saying, okay, there's a way here and there's a way there to build a roster when you have those restrictions?
That's what we have to do, but it's all very intentional. It goes to getting Grayson and Nurk last year, knowing we could re-sign Grayson and have his bird rights. It goes to the Royce O'Neal trade and targeting someone like that we know we could re-sign. It goes to relationships. When you have minimum contracts, they have a lot of options. These all had options, but between James, Matt, and myself, we spent a lot of time with their agents explaining our value or our vision and our value, what we care about. So everything is intentional. There's a lot of discussions on it. We don't always get everything we want, but trust me, there's a lot of thought that goes into it. And in the end, I think Matt used the care factor word. When you truly care about it and you can't just talk about it, you got to be about it, what we're building here. They see it, and that's why they all committed.
Up next. Back here, Kellen. Great. Sorry, Kellen.
My fault, everyone.
didn't see
Josh
you.
Bartlestein, that's your name, not my name. Kellen Olson, Arizona Sports.
I
Good
like
to
that
see
name.
man.
You can be Josh today, too.
The 3 seconds threw me off, man. I would love to be, I wouldn't mind. To go back to the style of play that you were mentioning and Coach Bud's fit inside of that, how much of this is a match in terms of what you guys are looking to do with his style of play and what he does in the past?
100%. I think in basketball, there's so many subjective opinions now on how you want to play, but there's certain objective measures you have to hit to give yourself the best chance to win. And I think we looked at our team last year, there were certain things that we didn't do that made the game harder for ourselves. Part of that, shooting more threes, how we want to run our offense, moving the ball. Bud's obviously had incredible success. He's a championship-level coach. The details that Matt talks about, there's intentionality in every single thing we do on both ends of the ball. So the talent is great, and then you got to build margin for error in the style you play with. And I think what you're going to see this year is those two things being married together to have incredible talent on the court, but also play a style of basketball that gives us a chance to win a championship.
Shane.
Hey, Josh. Shane Young with Forbes. I'm just curious, what are you guys looking forward to the most in the G League team's first year together?
We're excited. I'll go back to my first meeting with Matt, and he just said, look, my job is to give you guys all the resources in the world. That can be spending money on the tax which we talked about. It can be on the business side. It can be, we have to have a G League team. For us to develop young players, they have to be able to play. So to not have one was crazy. So to have them practicing literally down the street at the new Mercury facility, playing at Mullet, we want to develop young players that can have great success at the Valley Suns and then ultimately play for the Phoenix Suns. So it's a great story. We can't wait for the season to start, but I think it's more of a testament to all the wins we've had, and Matt's vision is where the resources need to build a championship-level organization on every area, and this is another one of those.
Brandon.
Hey, Josh. You talked about continuity earlier and the importance of that. You guys did lose a member of the team who's been here for over 30 years, with Ralph this year, moving to a competitor. Can you talk about maybe how that impacts maybe you guys' other business ventures here with the GM of the arena leaving?
Yeah, Ralph had an amazing career, and we wish him all the best. Our goal with this arena is to make it the premier destination for sports and entertainment. We're going to have over 100 shows this upcoming year, which would be a record. So, we were 62 years ago, 80 last year, over 100. We have a great partnership with all of our Live Nation, with Oakview Group. So we're in a great spot. And I think you see all the concerts that come through. There's really something every single night. Our team reminds me of that and how much we're working. That's what we want to do, is bring amazing entertainment and content for our fans. And whether you want to watch the Mercury, the Suns, or a concert, there's always something special going on here.
Richard.
Josh, Richard Sines, Fox 10, good to see you. You kind of talked about your first meeting with Matt, where he said, look, I'm going to give you everything you need to win.
Makes my job pretty easy when he says that, right?
I was going to say, does it, or is it be careful what you wish for? Because now you don't have an excuse where you're like, man, now I got to come through. What's that like when you have an owner that says, look, whatever you need, just get it done?
It's the best, and he's here, so he knows I'm talking about him, he can hear me. But having grown up in the business with my dad in it and being in Detroit for a long time, that's not the norm. Usually there's a lot of restrictions, and you have high expectations, but there's goalposts in what you can do. I can tell you anytime myself, James, and Bud come to Matt with an idea or anything that's going to move the organization forward, whether it's winning on the court, off the court, the community, he always supports it. He asks the right questions. To his point, we're not reckless of money, but we built a new Mercury facility. We just changed 5G again because Bud had some ideas. That's not the norm, and I think when you have an owner who does that and cares about it, and also has played, so he understands how basketball works, it's a major competitive advantage for us.
Dana, last question.
Hey, Josh, Dana Scott, Arizona Republic. Just wondering about how Matt talked about retaining some free agents and what you just mentioned about investing in 5G and updating the facilities and such. How much was that an attraction to bring some of the free agents here, or even bringing Bol back?
Yeah. It's everything. I think when you pitch someone, you got to share a vision, and that starts by interactions every day. I think one of the things that teams struggle with is you can't just call an agent or a player when you want them to sign with your team. You got to build those relationships all season long. So whether it was Bull or someone like Mason, who's with my dad, so I can talk to my dad all the time, you have to build those relationships. And then ultimately when they come here and understand what Phoenix is all about, an amazing practice facility, an owner who does all the small things that matter, we built our medical staff, you have a great story to tell. And again, people can talk about, but then you got to actually do it. And when when Mason calls a Brad Beal or Royce O'Neal and Devin Booker and says, hey, they told me all these things, has to actually be true. And the best part is our players can smile and say, yeah, everything Matt's talked about, James talked about, Josh talked about, comes to fruition here.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Suns President of Basketball Operations and General Manager James Jones. We'll start with questions. Who do we have? Mark McClune. Mark,
Hello,
it's your
everyone.
day today.
Hey, James. Mark McClune, Arizona's Family Sports. Good to see you. Hey, good to see you. Yeah, as you approach this season, what sort of course are you hoping to charter here for the team based on the decisions you made this summer?
I think the big thing for us this season is enjoying the journey to competing for a championship. I thought last year we had some really good moments, and there were too many moments where we didn't really enjoy the grind of competing for a championship. And so the changes we made this summer allowed us to continue to build that, continue with that momentum that we built by bringing back some of our free agents, going and finding a coach that I think fits our trajectory and where we want to go in the short term and the long term. And Bud has been really, really energizing for the group. And so I'm just really excited to get started tomorrow because I think this team really has a chance.
Hey, James, Gerald Bourget, PHNX Sports. Good to see you.
You too. How you doing?
Good. I know we've talked a lot about the point guard thing, the pros and cons of that situation. You guys were able to get Monte Morris and then Tyus Jones after that. Now that you do have two more traditional point guards, what kind of stands out as the pros and potential cons of that?
I think those two guys, Tyus and Monte, I think Matt talked about it earlier, historically good as far as taking care of the ball and leading their teams. I think what it'll do is give our guys a little comfort and a little more trust in the offense and the ball movement. We want to shoot more threes. We want the ball to pop. We want the ball to move. And as long as those guys are somewhat the conduit in between, I think whichever decision they make, will be an optimal decision, and I know everyone will respect it. And so those are some of the challenges you have when you don't have a traditional point guard. But at the same time, they're not the traditional point guards. They're exceptional in the sense that they can make shots, extremely efficient with the ball. And so the combination of skills, the skill set that the two of them possess, is unique. And uniquely for our team, it's going to make us special.
It's Dwayne Rankin, Arizona Republic. How are you, sir?
Hey, Dwayne, how you doing?
All right. Nice tie.
Thanks, appreciate it. You too.
No. Real quick, just a couple of things. One, with Durant and obviously the extension, how much conversation has there been in trying to, A, get that done, and then B, with a three-guard lineup, how do you like that look of Beal, Tyus, and Devin in today's NBA?
I mean, we love having KD here. We want him here. We'll figure that out. Like Matt said, we don't really talk about that publicly, but the thing we do talk about publicly is who really wants to be here and who's a great fit for us. And so we love KD. He loves being here. That goes without saying. And there was a second part of your question? The three guards. Oh, the three-guard lineup. I look at it from, we always talk about how you start. You want to talk about how you start. You definitely want to talk about how you finish. But when you have three guards out there, what it means is that you're dynamic. The other two guys out there, whoever they are, the 4, the 5, however you want to categorize them or classify them, they're always one pass away from a playmaker. And that's helpful when you're talking about a high-powered offense like us. I talked about it when I said having Monte and Tyus as the conduit or the intermediary between two sides of the floor will give everyone a little more confidence and trust that the right plays will be made. So now we just added another player out there who can make the right plays, make the right shots, make the right decisions, and make us more efficient offensively, which to us is our competitive advantage given that we have three of the best from a guard perspective with Devin and Brad and KD. We have three of the best offensive players in the game.
Hey, James, Brendan Clean, Locked On Suns podcast. Last offseason, you used the phrase mid-prime veteran quite a bit with some of the players that you targeted to round out the roster. What made you lean more toward guys like Mason and Monte and Tyus, who are clearly kind of in their prime veteran players, as opposed to that approach to get that depth around the big three?
Well, we're different this year. And I think every season is different, especially when we talk about leadership. We have an entirely different coaching staff, entirely different strategy for winning. And our team has matured. So a year with Devin and Kevin playing their games, as you saw in the Olympics, it continues to evolve and they complement each other. And every time you have a tweak or a shift in the way the game is played amongst your core players, you have to think about how that impacts your role players, your secondary players, your backline players, your starters that accompany those guys. And so as our team continues to shift, every year our focus will have to be different. Given the constraints that we have from a team building perspective, I thought we did a fairly good job retaining our free agents so that we had that continuity because those guys adjusted their style of play to fit our core guys. And so if we can continue to stack that and build that and grow that, I believe we give ourselves a chance to compete.
James, Richard Sines, Fox 10, good to see you.
Hey, good to see you.
You talked about your excitement for this season because you feel this team has a shot. If anybody knows what a championship team looks like, it's you. You've done it 3 times. What is it about this particular group that makes you say, this is it?
One, when you go through what we went through last year, the ups and downs, the injury battles, the struggles, the way our season ended last year, you can tell right away in the summer where the guys are about it, if they're really in for that championship fight. And we've had great participation in the gym. Devin and Kevin were playing in Paris. We had the rest of our guys who were here in the gym every single day. Our guys started playing pickup basketball the first week in September, and not like guys normally do when they just come into the gym and try to get a sweat. I mean, they were really working together to get better. And so when you start to see those signs, it gives you confidence because those are the times they don't have to be here, but they choose to be here working together and trying to gain a competitive advantage. And so I think this team is different than last year's team, not just because it's 2024, 2025, is really because the players that are on this team, those that are returning, plus the additions that we've made, truly believe that we're all in. And that's the one thing I talk about this team a lot, is what we want. We always want to be in. We always want to be in the conversation for competing for a championship. We always want to be in the playoffs, and that resonates with our guys.
Kellen Olson, Arizona Sports. James, great to see you. With Brad in his role last year on the team and how you guys at times had him being the point guard, Tyus and Monte come in, how do you expect that to free up Brad and allow him to get back to the player that he's been in the past?
Brad's a player, so I think it'll give him a little more balance where he can get to his natural position as a two guard. But it also helps him because the guys that we brought in are phenomenal playing off the ball, so he doesn't have to lose the opportunity to be the primary initiator, ball handler, and think aggressively offensively. So I think he'll be in a really good spot. And when you talk about sharing the game, I think the lessons that we learned last year, if you ask Devin and Kevin, is that they can do more to share the game because they trust and they know who they're playing with. So I expect Brad to be great and get back to that confidence level as an off guard that he's always exhibited as a player.
Hey, James. Shane Young, Forbes. You mentioned it seems like a big theme is getting up a lot more threes this season. I'm curious, what's the level of buy-in you've gotten from the big three specifically, given that they're historically mid-range heavy players?
They've been great. Those guys are shot makers, right? And if the shots that are presented, the shots that are created are threes, they'll take them. And if the shots that are created are mid-range shots, they'll take them as well. For us, it's really just timing. Right? Like last year, a lot of our offensive sets got us late in the shot clock where we didn't have the opportunity to collapse the paint, drive, kick it, and get to a second side or backside three. I think we'll be able to do that with an emphasis on pace and just really more about the positional alignment on the floor. So they're all in on it. They love scoring. They know that threes are worth more than twos. And if we can create more catch-and-shoot opportunities for them, they'd gladly take them.
Yeah.
Dana has it.
Yeah, I'll get over to you when I'm done. I was wondering about how there's been a short history of hometown guys that you've had on the team here or before you became into your position. Alan Williams and then also DeAndre Ayton and then Saban Lee and now Ty and Oso. So how important is it to have guys who are homegrown on the roster or something for fans to root for?
I mean, that's always a consideration, but I think it really speaks more to the quality of basketball here in Phoenix. Phoenix is a basketball city, and there's a lot of talent. If you talk about from a high school perspective, from a college perspective, these guys are really good players as amateurs, and as they come up into the NBA ranks, if there's an opportunity to get a player who's just a really good player, plus has local ties, I'm pretty sure it's great for the fan base. But more importantly, it's great for the players. There's always a little bit more that you put out when you get a chance to do it at home in front of your fans, in front of your family, for your community. A lot of these guys are inspired by the game that they watch here, and they want to be that inspiration for their community. So it's a win-win for both of us when we're able to find a player, not just because he's from Phoenix, but he's from Phoenix, but on top of that, a really good NBA player.
Doug, last one with James.
Doug Howler with The Athletic.
Hey, Doug, how you doing?
Good to see you.
You too.
There was a lot of, Kevin Durant had a calf injury in Paris, and when he came back, there was a lot of concern about his minutes restriction. What's he going to provide? What role does he play? And then he went out and hit his first 8 shots and looked as good as he's ever looked. I'm assuming you watched that. What was your reaction just to how he came back and played when everyone was kind of wondering how he would be?
I mean, my reaction is like it always is with players of Kevin's caliber. Why is anyone surprised, right? The guy loves the game more than anything. He's totally dedicated. He's a Hall of Famer because he puts in the work and he prepares and he wants to be great. And so anything he puts his mind to, if he wants to come back and play at a superstar level, he will. And I don't think there's ever been anything in his history that's given anyone any pause or any disbelief that Kevin will come back when he comes back and perform at a high level. So I'm just always excited for him, right? Because he's at the stage of his career where he's played 15 plus NBA years, and everyone wants to ask that question, and he continues to show people day in and day out, year after year, why he's one of the greatest scorers of all time and why he'll go down as one of, if not the greatest scorer of all time. Thank you.
Thanks, James. Thank you, James. Great job. Okay. He needs no introduction. Suns head coach Mike Budenholzer. We'll start with questions. And Gerald, you are first. Remember to state your name and affiliate, please.
Hey, Coach. Gerald Bourget, PHNX Sports. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
I'm just curious because when we last spoke, you had talked about the importance of being able to play with a point guard, being able to play without one. Now that the offseason's over, you have 2 point guards who can come in here and kind of orchestrate the offense. How do you see that working, especially with the big 3 that last year had to do a lot of the creation and initiation on that end?
Yeah, I mean, I think it just starts with adding a really good basketball player in Tyus Jones and Monte Morris. So anytime you can add good basketball players, that's a great thing. And I think for our roster, especially to have a point guard, a starting point guard in Tyus, that I think, it puts, all 3 of those guys, but not just, Book and Kevin and Brad, but the entire group in a position to be their best also. Tyus is, I think well known for setting the floor and getting his teammates involved and, high assists, low turnover. I've been super impressed with just his presence. He has a way about him in the gym, the way he talks with his teammates, the way he has conversations with me. There's a confidence, there's an intelligence. I just think it's an incredible add and something that, I think credit to James and Josh and the organization to make that happen. Very, very fortunate, and I think Tyus is going to have a big impact, and so is Monte.
Dwayne.
Yes, Coach Dwayne Rankin, Arizona Republic. Good to see you. 2 things. One, I'm curious what you think about the team honoring Al with the jersey band. That's 1. And then 2, the 3-guard look. Obviously, how do you like that in terms of the way the game is played today?
Yeah, started with Al. I mean, it's, I think everybody could see and know, I think the special place he has in probably the whole state's heart, all basketball fans' heart, the Suns' heart, my heart. So to honor him, I think is important to everybody, including me. So, what an incredible career, what an incredible life, an incredible man. Feel fortunate to have known him just a little bit. Hopefully the way we play, the way we represent ourselves would be something that Al would be proud of. So we'll be proud to wear the patch. The 3-guard, I'm not exactly sure what you mean with the 3-guard lineup. I think, with Tyus and Brad and Book and KD, we have a lot of guys, that are kind of perimeter, type skilled guys that can handle, that can shoot, that can pass. I think the game has, been moving in that direction. The more skill, playing with more space, more pace, all those things. We feel like our guys are going to be really good together, and mixing and matching them. And it's not always, you can't have all 4 of them on the court at the same time. And Grayson is somebody who started a bunch of games. Having him come off the bench, we feel like is going to be something really good for us. And just the way they all mix together. So I'm excited about the talent, the skills that they bring to the table and trying to maximize them.
David?
Hey, David Brandt from the Associated Press. Kevin has been remarkably durable over the past year or so, but he just turned 36 the other day, and just kind of wondered your kind of long-term thoughts about maybe easing him in, with the miles on his legs over the summer, just easing him in. What's your kind of plan to make sure he stays fresh?
Yeah, I think Kevin's been great this summer. Sometimes he'll make a joke or something about his age, but as you saw in the Olympics, as you saw this last year, I think he played 75 games. He loves hooping. He loves playing. He and I have kind of started to have a conversation about how do we, ultimately there's, you want to be playing your best basketball and you want to feel great going into the playoffs. How can we be, ultra competitive from Jump Street? I don't love the word ease Kevin or ease our team or ease anybody into the season. We want to be great coming out of the chute. And so there's always ways to be mindful of Kevin's body. But, I would say not just Kevin, it's really the entire team. We want to take care of them physically, have them feeling good, but at the same time still be ultra competitive and put ourselves in positions to win on a day-to-day basis and be playing good basketball and feeling good going into the playoffs.
Dave?
Coach, Dave Burns with Arizona Sports, back here in the back. Yep. My question for you is about Nurk and whether the work that we've seen him do on social media this summer has been with deliberate intent, perhaps to be a center more in line with maybe with what works with your system. I was curious if you've seen some of those videos and if that was part of your instruction, for lack of a better word, to him in the offseason?
Yeah. I'm not sure where I am in the generational thing. I'm probably just off of, I have Instagram, but I don't really know how to go to it, I don't think, or Twitter or all those things. So I have not seen the videos, but I have children that tell me about them or coaches that tell me about them. So I do know what you're talking about. And there definitely has been, I think intentional work by Nurk and conversations with him about, what we think he can do and add and grow. And, most obviously is a three-point shooter. And he's done it a little bit in his past, and we're going to push that envelope. And obviously we feel like there's ways where he can impact the game in a really positive way offensively, but not just three-point shooting. There's lots of things that Nurk's an incredible passer. His skill, his IQ, his vision is, as you watch film and study him, it's pretty unique. So, but yeah, he's been given instruction to work on and shoot and practice threes, and we're going to want to see that in games.
Dana?
Dana Scott, Arizona Republic.
Yeah, sorry.
In other words, you know what Grayson can do. You had him in Milwaukee, but also with Bol, it's a two-part question. What do you think is the biggest attraction of bringing Bol back, despite him not playing much in last year's playoffs for this team? And second is, you've seen this happen before with Barkley when he first came to the Suns in '92, and he had that great summer with the Dream Team, and that carried over into the Suns going to the finals. Do you see possibly that happening with Devin, as you just mentioned with Kevin on the Olympics this summer in Paris?
Yeah, well, I guess, first maybe it was a little bit of Grayson and Bol in the first question. I'll start with Bol. I think from getting the job and being around, James and Josh in the front office and the guys that had watched the team last year, deciding to keep Fizz on the staff, there's a lot of, I'd say love or support or whatever words you want to use for how Bol can positively impact our team. And you look at some of the analytics when Bol and Nurk played together, were probably some of the best combinations for the team last year. So I think he's a really unique player and a shot blocker, with his length and how he can change the game defensively, and then offensively a unique skill set. Obviously an ability to shoot and make threes, but make plays that guys at that height normally can't make. So I think learning and listening was really kind of won over with, he's somebody that can help us win. He's somebody that can impact winning. So I think we're excited about getting Bol back, and he's had a great summer in the gym working with the coaches. So he's been great. Grayson, it's been awesome to kind of reunite with him. We had, several good years together. Love his wife, Morgan. She's amazing. And I'll just say, watching him in the gym this summer, he's significantly better than when he left. And that's kind of one of our goals. We want players to get better, keep getting better. And he's a really good player. I think he's a lot underrated in a lot of ways, and maybe not appreciated the way he should be. But hopefully he feels that appreciation from me and his teammates, and organizationally getting the contract, the commitment to him. I had not even realized that Charles Barkley played in, the 92, and then it led into, I was actually a Suns fan and not in the NBA in 92. So I remember those finals vividly. So yeah, let's go for it. Let's get Devin Booker to go from gold medalist to NBA finals. And I think the international play can be a springboard to a great season. Being around a lot of international players, it's, I think, really good for those guys, and obviously the American guys.
Barry.
Hey, Mike.
Oh.
Barry Bloom from Sportico. Welcome.
Thank you.
It's nice to have you here. So you guys came from behind and beat the Suns in the finals in 2021, and Booker is the only guy left from that team. And they've had, shortened seasons of lack of expectation the last 3 years. What do you think you bring to this franchise as a coach that the last two guys didn't?
Well, I have a ton of respect for all coaches, and so it's always tough to follow, people and bring a new system and things like that. But with a ton of respect for both Frank and Monty, we're going to try and instill things that, we hope are helpful to us being successful and winning in the playoffs and advancing. And, there's a competitive spirit. There's a mindset that goes into, really us just being great competitors. When you get to the playoffs, you have to compete at a really high level. You have to build those habits, starting with first practice tomorrow. And hopefully those habits that we build throughout the year will put us in a position to be successful in the playoffs. I think there's things that fit this roster. There's style of play that fit this roster and the talent on it that we can instill and bring to the table. And the players embrace it, and we become elite and one of the top teams in the league and, compete for a championship. So, but it's all talk at this stage. I'm just like any other coach. I'm trying to get my team ready for practice tomorrow, get ready for games, and be the best we can and have the best results, come playoff time.
Cam, last question.
Thanks, Stacey. Coach, Cameron Cox, 12 News, good to see you. You talked about it when you were introduced that this was the dream job, so what's it been like to coach your team these past couple of months and just kind of get things rolling? And then also, Matt talked about the details that you've already fixed. What are some of those that you've already changed?
Yeah, it's been amazing to be back in the Valley, back in Phoenix, back in the state of Arizona, around family, friends, all that good stuff. This is the team I grew up cheering for. So, but then, that stuff kind of quickly goes into the glove compartment, or you close the door and you go in the office and, you're a coach. And I just love our roster. Our players have been fantastic this summer, the work they've put in, the effort. Just really, really happy with it. And it's really about the players. So I'm excited to work with them, excited to hopefully get the best out of them. And, attention to detail, or there's just, I don't know, maybe we have better toothbrushes or the shampoo or something like that. But it's there's so many things. I think the organization's in a great place. Matt's been incredibly supportive. I think, I don't know how long he's owned the team, but I think there's just every day he's finding ways to make the organization better, to make, our facilities better, to make our team better. He wants to create an environment where we can be our best and where we can compete for a championship. And, just working with him and James and Josh, there's been a lot of change around the facility, a lot of change with our group, and we feel like it's it's been a huge positive. All right, thanks.
Thanks, Coach.
Well, that was Suns' new head coach, Mike Budenholzer, and he'll be joining us here momentarily on the set. We'll be able to go in depth with him even more. We're also going to be hearing from the players today, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, also Grayson Allen, Tyus Jones, and Mason Plumlee. But, Tom, at the top of the show, we were talking about the legendary broadcaster, Al McCoy, what he meant to you, also the community. The Suns will be honoring him throughout the season with a jersey patch and a jersey band. What was your reaction to that?
Man, it's so cool. It's going to say Al right there on the jersey. And we knew that the Suns were going to honor Al McCoy. People have talked about statues and all the rest, but right now, the here and now for this season, to have Al on the jersey will just be incredible. And just, an honor, I think, for Al's family especially, to know that this legacy will not end here.
Yeah, and just the impact that he had on the players too. The players being able to honor that. Devin Booker, obviously, we'll talk to him about that close relationship as well.
Yeah, no question about it. And I know it's meant so much to the fans. I mean, we've seen the expression of love and support for Al and his family since then. So, I mean, it's really going to be a special season in honoring him. And, Mat Ishbia has been always very recognizing and the importance of the history of the Suns. I mean, that's one of the things when Matt comes up and joins us too, is that, I mean, he recognizes the importance of the Ring of Honor, not only for the Suns, but also for the Mercury. He recognizes the importance of Al McCoy and what he's meant to all the fans here. So it's something we'll talk to Mat Ishbia about as well when he joins us. But our first guest is ready to sit down, and that's the new head coach, Mike Budenholzer.
Hey, Coach. How's it
Kind
going?
of expecting some...
How you guys doing?
Great. Kind of expecting some road rallies possibly from Holbrook, but that's happened already when you were coaching in Atlanta and Milwaukee, and they are all coming down from Holbrook. So I'm sure we're going to be seeing them again this season.
Yeah, now they'll have 41 games to come down.
Exactly.
So, yeah, no, it's going to be fun, and everybody there is excited.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for taking the time. It's great to see you again, tipping off a new season with the Phoenix Suns. But I want to focus in on the news with Al McCoy, the Suns honoring him by wearing a jersey patch. And obviously, he had an impact on you growing up. Can you just talk about the relationship that you had and also what you've seen from him just in the community in general?
Yeah, no, I mean, there's so many things that are exciting about coming back to Phoenix and the state of Arizona. But I mean, it's all true. I mean, it sounds almost like a movie or something. But listening to him, I in my car or in the driveway or in the backyard, and I feel like I've been saying it all summer, but it's just true. And Sweet D and Alvin Adams and Shazam, and I was a huge Suns fan, and it was really his voice that I think I probably associated with the Suns as much as any player. And so then, to then get into the NBA and spend a lot of years, and I'm not saying every game, but I tried every game before just to say hello to him and let him know he was one of my heroes, one of my legends, and he was always incredibly kind and gracious with me. And so, yeah, I think to get to know him over the years and for him to be there on the day that, I was announced as the head coach is incredibly special. And now to honor him with the patch and, hopefully our team will represent him in a way that he would be proud of. And we'll be proud to wear the jersey and the patch.
And that was so emotional to watch you hug him and to see what it meant to you to have him introduce you at the press conference as well. And I had mentioned that's a hug that he took to heaven.
Yeah, no, that's a great call. It was so true and so genuine. So, yeah, they surprised me with that, and I'm very appreciative of it, appreciative to have that moment.
Coach, entering your first season as the new head coach of the Suns, and really the offseason can be looked at as a time where you foster those relationships with the players. How have you been able to connect with them so far this offseason as you head into training camp?
Yeah, I mean, I think the most important thing you do, really every summer and all throughout the year, but as a new coach, you got to start building those relationships and start to get to know them as people as much as players. And so there's been dinners, there's been traveling, there's been, trips abroad to Europe. I think my passport got worked out this summer.
Never a bad thing.
No, it's never. I have to go to Croatia to visit Nurk. This is terrible. It's been a good summer spending time with the players and getting to know them and developing that relationship. And then also being in the gym and my assistant coaches, working with them and developing relationships with them and them starting to understand, the things that are going to be important to us. So it's been a great summer, and it's mostly about building the relationships.
Can you tell us more about that trip to see Nurk in Croatia? I mean, I've seen some pictures, some video. He looks like he's slimmed down, and he's certainly shooting a lot of threes.
Yeah, no, Nurk looks great. It's funny when you don't coach somebody, I'm maybe not as dialed in, but everybody has just been raving about his body, and I think you can see it. He feels good. I feel like he's moving well. He and I talking about the things that where we feel like he can grow and improve and impact our team, and he's been great. And he and his wife just were the most incredible hosts, and the Dalmatian coast and Croatia and getting in the water and eating some fresh fish and all the things that you get to do when you travel abroad and learn other people's cultures and their ways. It was one of my favorite trips. Got to take my 19-year-old son with me, and so it was just it was beyond kind of our expectations. It was a lot of fun.
Nothing like swimming in the Adriatic Sea, by the way.
Exactly. Yeah. No, hopefully it put some more years on me.
Another player that you had mentioned too, Grayson Allen, being reunited with him. You said that you've been able to see him in the gym. He's gotten significantly better. Describe that to us. What have you seen specifically?
Yeah, I mean, it's so great to kind of reunite with Grayson. He's somebody that plays the way we want to play, that I think embraces a lot of the characteristics, his toughness, his competitiveness, his unselfishness. But, in the gym this summer, just his ability to drive and finish and his footwork, his shooting, I think a quicker trigger, deeper range, and ability to get in and out of screens and just play. I was very, very high on him, and it's now good to see him up close and see that he's embraced. He's just continuing to get better, and glad to be coaching him again.
And we're glad to have you here in Phoenix, Coach. Thank you so much for your time, and looking forward to the start of training camp tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you guys.
See you tomorrow.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Awesome.
Coach.
Great, thanks.
It's kind of interesting, too, Amanda. We talk about maybe a more svelte Nurk. In some of the footage that I've seen of Grayson Allen working out this past summer at Duke, you and I had discussed that. He looks like he's bulked up, like he's added some strength. And as Coach Bud says, like he had unlimited range beforehand. And now with some added muscle, he might be stepping back a couple more feet.
Yeah, that was really cool to hear him too, his evolution as a player as well. But without further ado, we have Mercury and Valley Suns owner Mat Ishbia joining us. Matt, it's great to see you. New season for Phoenix Suns basketball. You have a new head coach, several new players. What is the goal, getting right into it? What's the goal for this season?
First off, we're going to hopefully have a great season all the way across the board, from fan experience, all the aspects. But the truth is, we want to get better every day and compete for a championship, right? We want to compete at the highest level. And I think Coach Bud, all the players, Josh, James, everyone's aligned with the mentality of we got to get better every day. We love our team. We love the guys. We love the coaches. We think we made some great change over the summer. We thought it was a fantastic summer. But now we got to go out there and compete. Now we got to go out there and show it. And then, talk's cheap. So let's start competing and start doing it. And that starts tomorrow at practice. And it's already started because of the open gyms and all the work they've been putting in.
You mentioned how impressed you've been with Coach Bud since he's taken over, and especially developing those relationships with the players. What have you seen over the past month? Because James Jones was talking about all the sweat that's going on in that practice facility already with some of these pickup games.
Yeah, it's just that they're all in. Like, the guys are in. Everyone's excited about it. There's a joy out there. They're working hard. There's structure and leadership coming from the coaching staff, not just the head coach, but the assistant coaches. The front office is aligned. We've made some changes there. We've got people, everyone's bought into the same goals, same strategy, same work ethic, same mentality. And it's been fun to see already. And now obviously we'll see it in practice tomorrow. But, seeing it when it's optional and they don't have to be there like they were the last couple weeks, that's like a great sign to see what we're going to do. But now it's got to translate, and we're working on that.
Training camp is upon us, and then the preseason. At the second game of the preseason, the Suns are playing at Michigan State. I have to ask that, just being able to go back, see your team being played at your alma mater and where you started your career. How did that kind of come about, getting that game there?
Yeah, no, we're really excited about it. It's going to be a lot of fun. We played in Detroit last year in a preseason game, so got everyone to be able to be there together and do some cool things in Michigan and see my world a little bit. But going to Breslin Center, and Coach Izzo's going to be there, and the Michigan State basketball team and that organization, it's really cool. And also for Devin Booker, he grew up not far from there as well. And so I think it's really cool on a college campus to see the Phoenix Suns, playing as Detroit Pistons. So we appreciate the Pistons wanting to do it there and being open to that, and really making it a special day for our whole organization, and obviously me included.
Obviously been a very busy summer. You were in Paris watching the Olympics too. What was your summer highlight?
Well, it's pretty cool to see, my summer highlight, obviously seeing the 5 of them, the women and men, win the gold medal was really pretty cool. But also I can't not mention the WNBA All-Star Game. And that weekend, it was really special for all the women in the league, but also our players and our organization. And so those were 2 really big highlights of the summer, on top of, getting Coach Bud and then Tyus and Mason and some of these guys to join, of course, Monte, and, even getting our guys to stay with us. That's another thing that I think we didn't talk about enough is, Grayson obviously did it at the end of last year, but Royce could have went elsewhere. You know, people want Royce O'Neal. He's a great player. Bull and Josh and even Damian, like, you know, these guys that even he didn't play last year, they wanted to stay here. And so that's really the highlight of the summer, is that everyone wanted to be part of it. The Phoenix Suns, we made some really great changes. We hope we're going to be better than we were last year. We had a good season last year, but not to where we want to be. And now we're going to compete at a higher level.
And I'm sure I don't know if you know this, but you are the only owner to have 5 players in the same sport compete in the Olympics. Hearing that, how does that feel for you?
Well, I think it feels great. I think it's more a tribute to, you know, our great GMs and great, you know, CEO and coaches and great players that they've done it. Like, and also our fans, people want to be here, because obviously people like Khalid Copper wanted to come to be here and be part of our organization. Kevin Durant and Booker's obviously been here his whole career, but Diana and BG want to stay another season and play. Like, you know, I think that's a tribute to our whole organization. But for me, it was really special to be able to go out there and support them. Show love to them and see them win a gold. Like, I've never been to the Olympics in my life, and so being able to see that was really, really special and cool.
So the headquarters Player 15 group, you were Player 15. You walked on at Michigan State. So that's always been really important to you. When you look at this Suns roster right now, who's coming up, who's going to be developed that you're excited to see?
Well, I really like this year that we have a crew of young guys that are going to develop. You know, Bull is still pretty young, if you realize that how young Bull is. But Bull and then Ryan and Oso, right? Then you got Jalen on the 2-way, and then Colin Gillespie and Ty Washington. But Colin, you know, he's been in the league and done really well. But we have some young development players that I think are going to contribute this year. But I actually think, you know, the nice thing is they're under contract for hopefully a couple years going, and like they can get better every day and contribute. So I think bringing that young energy with obviously our veteran core guys coming back, I think it's going to be really special. And with a great leader and coach, I feel great about it.
Yeah, one thing that we saw this offseason, Kevin Durant working out with Ryan Dunn, them going one-on-one. What have you kind of seen from that leadership? And like you said, the veterans mentoring the young guys and bringing them up.
Yeah, well, Kevin is, I mean, one of the top players of all time, right? And so for Ryan Dunn or any human being to be able to work out with him, you're going to get better just being in the gym with that guy and seeing the level and the pace that Kevin Durant or Devin Booker work at, and having these young guys, they're like, okay, this is how the pros, the best do it. And so Kevin's been great. He's been more vocal with those things. He helped, I know Bull worked with him and Dunn, and you know, he wants to work out every day. And so getting people around him, he's just an ultimate winner, and he's going to make those guys better, and not only for this year, but for their career.
You talked about your summer highlight, the WNBA All-Star Game. It's only a couple of years away before you guys will be hosting the NBA All-Star Game. So you set the bar pretty darn high.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great team effort by everyone in Player 15 group, the Phoenix Suns, Phoenix Mercury. Everyone did a great job making it. But now we get the Suns to get to host the All-Star Game in 2027. So we're definitely excited about that. We're going to be at the All-Star Games this year, seeing what the teams are doing great and how we can make it even better and make it, put our stamp on it like hopefully we did in the WNBA.
Great.
Well, thank you so much for your time. We always appreciate it. We'll be seeing you tomorrow at the start of training camp. We're really looking forward to it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
Appreciate you guys.
Of course.
Thanks,
Great
Matt.
to see you again.
Great to see you. All right, so coming up next after Mat Ishbia is going to be Josh Bartelstein. And it's, again, talking to all of the executives, and we've got the players coming too, and of course, including Devin Booker and Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal, along with a couple of the new guys, Tyus Jones and Mason Plumlee. But, there's just this buzz around the team. And there always seems to be excitement and optimism, Josh, when you go into training camp. But for sure, coming in to this year with the new coach and just everybody's ready for this thing to get cranked up.
We're super excited. It's been a busy summer, and starting with getting Coach Bud, which it seems like it was a long time ago, but it wasn't. I remember our first meeting and just talking about his vision and how it aligned with ours, and then being really intentional about how we built this roster. We had a really good core, high-level superstar talent, but the question was, how do you optimize it? Optimizing it meant two things. One, the players we brought in to match with this core and fit around them. And two, how we were going to play, shooting more threes, playing faster, more spacing, and Bud's going to help a lot with that. So couldn't be more excited. We've talked a lot about it. The best part is tomorrow at actual practice, we get to see it.
Yeah, for you too. You've talked a lot about building the relationships, and that's what's so important with the Suns and Mercury and just what you and Mat Ishbia are building here. How have you seen Coach Bud? I know it's early, but how are you seeing him kind of foster those relationships so far with the players?
It's a great question. It's the biggest misnomer in pro sports is that it's just transactional, where you don't have to actually build relationships because everyone comes and goes. We don't believe in it like that. We believe in the best part of youth sports and high school sports is getting to actually know the person, not just the athlete. So we went on a summer tour, right? Bud was in Europe spending time with Nurk. We went to the Olympics to see KD and Book play. We spent time with Brad and Grayson and Bull. Had a lot of them spend time here in truly building those relationships. And what that does is if they know you care about them, you can coach them. You can say, hey, we got to be better here. So the whole summer was about not just having players on our team, but having people on our team. And Bud's the best at that. You know, his number one kind of core value matches with Matt, matches with Maya, matches with James is care. If you truly care about people, it goes a long way.
And that's the family values that you talked about and Tyus Jones talked about. I mean, that was a recruiting process with him. There are a lot of other NBA teams that would love to have Tyus Jones right now, but it was family that you brought up and Tyus.
Yeah, that's how we went after him. You know, once we knew we had a chance, our view was let's go all out and recruit him. And you have to use the C word. You got to care. So it was about his wife, Carrie. What can we do to show Carrie this is an amazing place to live and raise a family? They have 2 beautiful young kids. Tyus Jr. loves basketball, right? So what can we do to show Tyus Jr. that he's going to love watching his dad play as a starting point guard here? All those small details. The basketball will take care of itself. We have a great coach. We have a great team. They're going to love being on the court. But so much of this, when you come here and move here, you're trusting us to make sure you're having a great experience. And we're really good at those finer details.
And keeping it on Tyus Jones, he's a true point guard. Really, that's something that the Suns were focused on. How do you see him impacting this team and just elevating the guys around him?
Yeah, I think everyone talks about his assist to turnover ratio. It takes away. He's actually just a great basketball player, and he can play on the ball and off the ball. He's a big time catch and shoot guy. He can play in pick and roll. He can make us play faster. And I think, again, it goes to optimizing our team. He's going to help Brad, Devin, Kevin, Nurk, all of them be better players. So we're going to play with him a lot. We're going to have the ball in his hands making plays for others. We're going to have him playing off action. We're going to see the ball move a lot more with this team and be able to kind of stabilize different units on the court, always having a point guard out there. So we couldn't be more fortunate to have him, and I think he's even going to be better than people realize.
Going back to Coach Bud, when he laid out his plans offensively, defensively, because we've seen his structures before. His Atlanta Hawks, they were cutting and moving and passing. I mean, Milwaukee very much the same way, but also relying on the freak there too. What did he lay out in terms of you and the rest of the staff going, oh man, I can't wait to see that on the court?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I always say there's objective and subjective ways to view basketball, and we can disagree on players, but there are certain things you have to do on the court as far as how you play to give yourself the best chance to win. And Bud's teams have always done that, and that's where having Nurk shoot more threes, having us shoot more threes as a whole, having more body movement, people cutting in different actions, playing faster so we can get out in transition. So there were certain kind of things that he said, no, we can argue about who starts, who plays, who we bring in, but for us to give ourselves the best chance to win at the highest level, we got to do these things. We got to play faster. We got to shoot more threes. We got to play less isolation basketball. And I couldn't agree more. And then within that, there's a lot of nuance and detail that gets you there. But we have a clear plan of how we want to attack. Now, the other team's going to try to take that away, but we have a great coach who's going to figure that out.
It's a busy off season. Obviously, the WNBA All-Star Game, hosting it here. Also, the Olympics. 5 players, Mercury and the Suns, that were a part of that. Just how proud were you to see them represent their teams, but then also just this organization?
Coolest thing ever. I remember sitting with my wife watching the games, and just those are our players. Like Devin Booker and Kevin Durant wear Phoenix Suns jerseys. DT and BG and Ka wear Mercury jerseys. No other organization had that many players, and I think it goes to show they all had immense success. But the cool part is they all have a story behind them. KD being the all-time leading scorer and rebounder. How cool is that? Book, this unsung hero. Ka taking over in the gold medal game, playing defense. BG story about traveling back over there and what it meant to her being an American. And then DT, the greatest of all time. So it was so cool that they all had this unique story about them. And at the end of the day, they love Phoenix. They all love being here. They're great stewards and ambassadors for our organization. And we can't take that for granted. Like, our fans we're lucky. Our fans are lucky that they get to play basketball here in Phoenix every single season.
All right, you wear a suit. You're an executive now, but you're a hooper. I mean, you hooped in college. You walked on at Michigan. So you're one of those guys. This is kind of my buzz question to everybody today. Who's your sleeper on this roster that you're really looking for?
I'm a basketball guy at heart.
Yeah.
I can watch any basketball game anytime. You know who I think is going to have a really big impact for us is Mason Plumlee. I think Mason's going to have a really good year. His IQ, what Bud wants out of a big is exactly Mason. Phenomenal passer, great in DHOs, can finish at the rim. He's got his lefty free throw now that looks really, really good. But just a really smart basketball player that impacts winning at every single level. So obviously the stars, and you have Tyus and Monte we've talked about, but I think Mason's going to bring a level of stability and just give you really good stuff every single night.
Have you told him that yet? That's a big confidence booster.
I tell
sure.
Mason every day. I'm the hype man. I'm telling all you guys how great it's going to be. Yes.
And you know he's not the first Plumlee to play here.
No, he's
yeah,
not.
Miles, of course.
He's going to have a great year.
Yep.
Awesome, Josh. Well, thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow at the
Thanks
start
for
of
having
training
me. Excited
camp.
for actual basketball, some practice.
I know, right?
Yes.
I know.
Keep working on that
Looking
tennis,
forward
too.
You know I will.
I know.
Tennis and pickleball.
Yeah. There you go.
I still need to get into pickleball. That's
Tell
something
me
I
when
have
you're ready.
not.
We'll
Have
play.
you?
Yeah.
Have you?
Oh, it's
tried?
awesome.
Yeah?
It's so good.
I haven't done it yet. It's on my list.
It gets better as you get older, too, the game of pickleball. I mean,
Okay.
young people can play it as well, but
Be kind of
when you don't
athletic.
move as well laterally.
Yeah,
Oh,
thank you. Appreciate
thanks, Josh. Great to see you. All right, for sure.
Oh, we'll be there. So that was Josh Bartelstein. I mean, sleeper guy, Mason Plumlee. Did you see that one coming?
I love that choice.
Yeah.
So you can ask pretty much anybody that I've been working with for the last 6-7 years. I've wanted Mason Plumlee ever since he played for Portland. He was one of those guys like at the top of the key. He's a playmaker. He's a passer. I mean, much like Nurk. I mean, Nurk played that position last year too. They're going to ask Nurk to shoot more threes, but Plumlee's just one of those guys, and he's like his brother Miles. A lot of bounce, able to block shots, guard the rim, but there's just something about his IQ that I felt like he was a perfect fit for this team a few years ago when they were making their finals run, and even more so now.
And what's interesting, too, that he said is during his introductory press conference, he said what really motivated him to get to the Suns, that draw to the Suns, was Coach Bud and just the impact that he can have on teams, what he's seen from him. So that's kind of special as well.
Yeah, and again, we've been talking about the style of play, too, and the ball popping as we're joined now by D-Book. Get the headsets on him.
Devin,
we have
great
so
to
many
see
questions.
You. Appreciate it, Book, as always. We'll get into your off season in a moment with the Olympics and the great vacation that you had with Kevin Durant that we
went on vacation.
It looked like a joint vacation that you had with the yeah. We have that slide photo somewhere.
Okay.
But starting with the news of Al McCoy, I know just the relationship that you had with him. You put a post out about how it was just a privilege for him to call, your 8 seasons. You're wearing the jersey now with the jersey patch. What does that represent for you this season to be able to honor him throughout the year?
Yeah, it means everything to me. I think any true Phoenix Suns fans or any basketball fan around the world understands the importance of Al McCoy to the Phoenix Suns. He's been here from the beginning, and he's embedded in the culture. He's embedded in all of our lives. It felt like a family member passing, and hard to deal with, but he shared so many stories. We'd have so many moments together that I'll forever cherish.
Was there maybe a favorite moment or memory that you have with him that you'll think back on, or any advice that he ever shared with you?
Oh, it might have seemed small in the moment, but I remember getting off a road trip when he was still traveling with the team, and I was like, Al, how are you still traveling with us, man? He's like, I love it, Book. I just love it, and that's the energy that I love having around, and I think after we broke the franchise record of 63 games won, honoring him with that jersey, just understanding how important he was to all of us.
We'll get to the Olympics, but I'm taking you up north because I've seen a lot of pictures of you up north. They're falling in love with you up there. It looked like you were off-roading. You might have even had some teammates up there. What can you share with us about your love of Northern Arizona?
Kind of talking about it too much, man. It was my hidden gem, but I think I've exposed it.
I didn't name the town or anything.
Secrets out.
Somewhere north.
Secrets out. I've exposed it. No, Flagstaff is beautiful, man. I love getting in the car, and I enjoy the drive up there. I enjoy balancing the hectic lifestyle and being over in Paris and wherever we were for 2 months, and then, getting to get off the grid and, just be in nature, be in the woods with my dog.
You just mentioned Paris, but the Olympics, you were really the glue guy for the team. And Steve Kerr even mentioned high praise, saying that you're really the unsung MVP of that team. What did you take from that overall experience as a whole?
Oh, man. I mean, I had a lot of reflecting time in Flagstaff. That was probably, I'd say, the greatest moment or greatest summer of my career thus far from an experience standpoint. You know, it was just a journey all the way through, not even, you know, the Serbian game or the gold medal game, like even camp when we started in Vegas, just being around the guys. And, you know, we have a group message that still rings off. All 12 guys are communicating in there. So, you know, we developed some relationships and some bonds that will, you know, last a lifetime.
How about Coach Bud? What was your initial conversation like with him? What were some of the things that he brought up, and what excited you most about playing for him?
I told him he owes me a ring. No, man, we just talk about competing. Talked about last season a little bit. You know, we did a round of golf. I think that's the best way to get to know somebody. And, you know, even in that, you can just see where his competitive mindset's at, you know. So he's a true winner. He has a ring. He's well respected all around. And, you know, all the guys in the locker room are ready to rally behind him.
Who won? Who won on the golf course?
He won.
Really?
Yeah,
He's pretty darn good, man.
I think
really?
I think he played
well,
in
he had
college.
a year
Don't
off to
quote me on
practice
that.
and
That's
polish
true.
his game.
He did say he
right?
traveled a lot and
Yeah,
played.
there you go.
And what better spot now to practice even more than here in
Oh,
Arizona?
yeah. We have a few
It's
options
the great
out here.
weather.
Exactly.
But Book, before we let you go, you know, you talk about the Olympics and just the relationships that you built there. How do you feel that also will continue to just make you better as a player, build that confidence, and then the carryover, the chemistry with Kevin Durant, too, into this season?
Yeah, I think, you know, even when you're not trying to, you know, you're gathering information around those guys. And, you know, every coach and player on there is, you know, mostly Hall of Famers and, you know, just solidified stars that, you know, have been to where I'm trying to go. So taking all the bits and pieces and, you know, throwing in, you know, whatever I do, you know, to it is, you know, is the main goal. So, you know, I understand we have what it takes in this locker room. I'm ready to do it.
All right. It's my go-to question.
Let's
I've been
hear it.
asking everybody.
Okay.
Who's the sleeper on this roster? We've gotten Bol. We just got Mason
Mason
Plumlee.
Plumlee.
Yep. Is there somebody on this on the roster that might surprise Suns fans?
Tyus Jones. Yeah, I'm going Tyus.
Yeah.
Class of 2014, high school. So
There you
we've been
go.
at it since camp ball. Yeah.
Guy knows how to set the table, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he can score.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We actually have one more question really quickly from Twitter. We asked fans to send in.
Okay.
This is from Hans. First impression of the rookies done in Oso.
Competitive, wise beyond their years, which is important. You know, we spent some time, you know, trying to build through the draft, but, you know, I think the quicker you can find guys that, you know, understand how to play and have a high IQ for the game, and those guys do. So, you know, I'm looking forward to sharing the court with them.
Appreciate you wearing the jersey too. That's our
come
first
on,
look
man.
at Al
Yeah.
in the patch, man.
Okay, I thought
That's
we were gonna
sweet.
put Shazam on there, man.
Yeah.
That's what I was lobbying for. All right, y'all. Thanks for having me.
Book, great to see you as always.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Have a great season, Bud. All right. That's pretty good. Speaking of
Yeah.
Bud, golfing with Bud, like we're getting all the
Hey,
scoop
what-
here.
what better way to
And
bond,
Bud
right?
winning the
You might have to join
competition.
in on that, Tom.
And you knew it meant something to both of those guys
Right,
too.
Right.
'Cause we talk about being competitors.
What's up? How are you?
As Kevin Durant
Yep.
shows
Joining
up,
us now.
fresh off the birthday.
Happy belated birthday. I left your birthday card at home, actually.
good.
Sorry.
It's all good.
But I'm just joking. But it did look like online that you were able to celebrate with some of your teammates. Who organized that?
Yeah, so we had a team get together yesterday, and Matt and Coach Bud threw me on the spot and made the rookies sing me happy birthday, along with some of the kids that were there too. So it was good to see everybody's family, and it's, you know, it's the start of a new season when you get everybody together like that.
And you caught a football game.
Yeah,
With Magic Johnson. I mean, there aren't that
can't
many
beat that
secrets out
birthday.
there, man, right?
You can't beat that birthday. Your
Yeah.
Commanders, who rarely come in town on the same day. Get a
Dang.
great win. Got to hang out with Magic. Got to hang out with my teammates. Got a happy birthday. I mean, I can't beat that.
Wow, that's a
Great
good day.
It's a great
That's
day.
A good day.
Great day.
Yeah. What, do you have a relationship with Magic? Obviously, you guys have known each other, run across each other in circles, but sometimes it can be deeper.
Yeah, definitely. Last couple of years we got closer, just from having mutual friends, having friends with the Commanders now. Like, so we see each other more times than we used to, and we had dinners and talks before about some stuff. So that's the best thing about the league, man, the brotherhood and how much the older generation gives back to the younger generation. So guys are still doing it.
And I know this offseason you were able to take in a Commander's practice too. How was
that?
that?
Yeah, that was actually this week too. They stayed here throughout. They came here early for the whole week, so they got to spend the week at ASU practicing. So I was able to go check them out. It's been a great week, man. I'm looking forward to the season. Though that's the real grind. That's the real. That's my real love of the year. It's right around this time when the season starts.
And you kind of got an early birthday present, your 4th Olympic gold medal.
Yeah,
you became the all-time Olympic scoring leader. That experience in Paris, and again, you have to mention Book too, because we talked about Steve Kerr and his comments about him being the glue, and how do you sum that up at this point without writing an autobiography in a full chapter?
It was a great experience. You can't beat traveling around the world playing basketball with your teammate and some guys, a lot of guys that throughout the league, so. It was like we were on tour, man. It felt like the biggest music band in the world got together. Biggest music band of all time got together and played shows around the world and got to bond and hang out with one another and actually go win a gold medal. So it's one of those things I'm always remember. I'm always think about and reference when I'm talking about my time as an NBA player.
And nobody's going to forget you coming off the bench.
Yeah.
Coming off the injury and not missing. I mean, basically hitting every shot, and the reaction from your Olympic teammates. Yeah. Not to mention the reaction back here in the United States. I mean, what does it feel like now, thinking back or watching those highlights?
That was a cool part about Team USA, that everybody kind of had a moment there. Steph had that moment late, those 2 games. Bron had a moment throughout the whole thing. Book's whole. Changing the role and playing a different role and taking that in, and people appreciating that small detail of the game. You got the Ant Edwards, you got Anthony Davis. I feel like everybody had a game, and I think that first game was my moment to kind of put my stake in the ground as like, I'm a part of this team, because I wasn't there the first few weeks, and you didn't get to see me out with the group, so I think it was good entry point to let everybody know that I was there, so I was glad I was able to experience that.
And how much do you carry that with you too? I mean, just the best of the best playing together. You guys, Book was saying you guys are still on a text chain, talking, just fostering those relationships too. How has that been for you?
Yeah, that's a special part about Team USA. It's the most brilliant minds of all time in the game of basketball there. From the coaches to the players to the front office executives, is the best of the best in the league there. So you just get stimulated on another level mentally as far as getting to know people, different backgrounds. Just learning more about what we're doing in this whole world, this ecosystem. So it was fun being a part of that. That's the elites of the elites, and I'm always grateful to be a part of that situation.
Can I ask him now?
Sure.
My sleeper question. Who's the sleeper on the roster? Who's that one guy that maybe you can tell Suns fans keep an eye on him? We've had Bol, Mason Plumlee, and Book just went with Tyus Jones, which, I mean, he's the starting point guard, but I don't think everybody here in Phoenix maybe appreciates his skills, but maybe a youngster, maybe another guy.
I'm going to go Ryan Dunn. I think
Ryan Dunn.
I
like it. We've had a different answer every time.
And you worked out with him this offseason,
got to play with him the last couple of weeks. I feel like he's going to we got some footage there. I feel like he's really going he really wants to be great. I feel like he is trying to download as much information as he can about the NBA lifestyle, the game, and how he can become a great player. And, he's starting off as a utility guy. Somebody has to come in and play a role and understand that he has to help the team first. And so those guys usually develop pretty fast and once they get thrown in the fire. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do.
Best piece of advice you've given him so far?
Celebrate every small win. Because you play a lot of games. You want to have a long career, but you can easily take a lot of this stuff for granted. So, every win is important, and every loss should be a lesson as well.
I can't even imagine what it's like for Ryan Dunn. Kevin Durant takes you under his wing. You know, that's pretty special, man.
I tell the young players, I'm taking more from you than you taking from me. The energy that they come with every day is contagious, so I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Have a great one. Have a good season.
Thank you so much. Great to see you again, as always. We'll be seeing you tomorrow at the start of training camp.
I like it. Different guy each time.
I know. We gotta
Dunn's
keep
a good
it
one
coming.
too.
I know. And then that video of them working out together, I think that's pretty cool. That mentorship, you're already seeing that displayed here on Media Day. Veterans taking the rookies under their wing, and like you mentioned, who better to learn from?
I know. And again, we have limited time with each one of these guys too. I mean, there's just so many more things we want to ask them. One of the things we did not bring up to Devin Booker is the fact that he is going to break Walter Davis's Suns franchise record in scoring at some point this coming season. Needs 1,138 points. And if he averages 25 points per game, that's going to happen in game 46 for him.
Okay.
How about I did the math?
All right. I know you got it.
Yeah, somewhere here.
All the stats out.
I hope I'm close.
But we're going to be hearing from Bradley Beal next, then Grayson Allen, Tyus Jones, Mason Plumlee. One thing that I'm thinking, we didn't show Kev the picture of the slide from the joint vacation. I wanted him to.
You wanted that as much as I want the sleeper question.
Yeah.
I know.
I just wanted to
there
know
it is.
what
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, he looked like, just was he enjoying himself? I think that's the biggest question.
Are his eyes closed? I think he's enjoying himself. He doesn't even know when he's going to make contact with the water at that point. That's good. That's great stuff.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, but we'll be back right after this.
Amanda's going sliding.
As the soft glowing light from the sun sets on the horizon, we await the golden hour of a golden era. Submitting the few remaining seconds of darkness. As the valley sheds its shadowy figures, we witness the arrival of the dawn. It is here, it is there, where there is shadow, there is light. Where there is light, there we will be. Stare at your own risk. Sun's up.
Hello, everyone. We have Bradley Beal joining us live from Media Day. Brad, we'll get right into it. I know that your off-season looked like you had a great time. You went to a Florida Gators game. You had a cowboy party for your son, I believe. How was it getting that family time and just kind of being in Arizona a little bit more?
Off-season was great. I love my family. They gave me a much-needed mental break from the season. But my kids are crazy, so I'm definitely happy that the season's coming back to start. But like you said, it was an awesome off-season. Got to travel the world a little bit. Went to Florida, got to see my boys. We got pulverized. I don't want to talk about it, but it's okay. We keep building. But I'm excited for the year. I had a great off-season. My body feels amazing. My mental feels even better. So I'm excited for what we can do.
You finished extremely strong last year, especially in the regular season. I went back on your last 5 games. You averaged 27 points. You shot 61% from the field. You hit all 13 of your final free throws in the regular season. Yeah. How is Coach Bud, your new head coach, going to help continue to activate that kind of production from you?
He's done it already since the day we brought him in, and he literally called me and was like, Brad, my mission is to get the Brad that I used to coach against in Milwaukee and in Atlanta, and I was like, I used to hate you then, so yeah, I can do that. But no, he was like, I want to activate that guy again. I want to get your energy back on the offensive end. Like, I know we kind of had you wear a lot of hats last year and do a lot of things out of your comfort zone, but he wants to get me back into being, an aggressive, offensive-minded guy. But at the same time, I still have that mentality of being team first and being, whatever the team needs. Obviously, is more important than what I may want or what the team thinks I may want. So I want to be the best version of me, and I think we can do that, obviously, adding Tyus, adding Monte, bringing in some point guards. So now Book doesn't have to take on the handling role. I don't have to do it. Kay doesn't have to do it. Grayson doesn't have to do it. We can just be our natural selves.
What does that mean, though, to know that, you know, what Coach Bud did say to you of just like he wants you to be the best out there and bringing that out of you?
It's a confidence booster for sure. You know, it's very enlightening. Obviously, I'm a vet, so it's not like I need him to, like, pat me on the back, but it's very encouraging, you know, to come in and hear that. And it just speaks volumes of his knowledge of the game, his vision of where he sees us and how we can be successful. And it's motivating. It's definitely giving me a new spark and a new energy to come in and perform and do it consistently for 82.
You are a veteran, so you probably have your summers lined up as to what your workouts are going to look like. Has that training changed at all, or did it change going into this season?
You know, it's crazy. A lot of stuff changed this season, this off season. I changed my workout kind of routine, kind of changed the timing of it. Usually I would start early. I kind of started a little later, you know, just to give my body that rest, give my mental that rest, because we're so like, what's next, what's next, what's next? How can we get better? How can we get better? And that's great, but obviously as you get older, you want to kind of teeter down on the amount of miles you want to put on your body. So for me, it was a lot of mental, just kind of mindfulness, obviously, just being in the moment, being, you know, in tune with myself. And then obviously when it came to the game, just being me, having fun. I think that was kind of being my biggest goal going into this year. Is I lost sight of that probably over the last like 2-3 years, right? Of just having fun, because I've been in different like roles besides someone that I was used to, right? So I'm trying to please a lot of people. I'm trying to please teammates, and Brad's not happy, right? Brad's kind of trying to figure it out, and a lot of the processes on top of being injured just cause a lot of frustration. So for me, it's just getting back to having fun, getting back to that natural element of hoops that I love to be in.
Well, and I can feel that too right now. Just, you know, your approach, that mindfulness, what you're saying. So we're really excited to see that fun this season and heading into training camp tomorrow. So
it's all about the joy and enjoy, right?
Yes.
That's it.
Yep.
That's it, man.
Right.
There's a lot of times like last year we were just trying to like make sure everybody's good, make sure we fit well, make sure we have success, and a lot of times we just didn't have fun. We just didn't enjoy being in the moment. And it's not like we're going out there like not trying to have fun. It's just like we're just really trying to figure it out. We're trying to piece it together in real time, very fast, while trying to win. So it was very tough on us, but now we have a clean slate. We can hit this thing running, and I'm excited for what we can do.
Great. Well, we're excited
Thanks,
too.
guys.
You are good, man. I could interview you anytime.
I know. I was
You're
gonna
just
say, I feel
honest,
like
and you're willing to put
for
that
an
out.
hour
Yeah, that's awesome.
talking
That's
to you about this.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Awesome.
it.
Thank
Thanks,
you
Brad.
so much. Great to see you again.
Yeah, that's just like, it's amazing insight into, you know, what Bradley and KD and Devin Booker were all going through last year, and the pressure of the expectations. Everybody talks about that. So sometimes you scale that back a little bit. They can kind of step back themselves and go back to the joy of the game and being teammates and enjoying those moments. And that's another thing that Coach Bud is really good at. I've talked to Damian Lee, who actually played in Atlanta with the Hawks when Coach Bud was the coach there. And Coach had even talked about he's already had some activities off the court with some of the players leading into training camp. But there was a golf outing with Damian Lee when he was with the Hawks and Coach Bud, and he just said Coach Bud is like that. Like, he's very demanding on the court, but he wants to make sure everybody's having fun, spending time with their families, getting to know each other.
He mentioned the dinners too when he was talking to us as well. So yeah, I felt that Brad just seemed a little bit a bit lighter, and you also have to look back at last season too of you know, just how his season was kind of disjointed, you know, with all the injuries that he was going through, starting with the back, then the ankle, and then, he broke his nose, you know, right when he comes back.
It was one thing after another.
It was.
And again, the point guard role, I mean, he was so honest about it, because last year everybody wanted to buy into that. Hey, you know, we don't need a traditional point guard. I mean, we can pass it around. It can be Nurk at times. It can be Bradley. It can be Book. But we see now and hear now from Bradley going, it wasn't all that comfortable.
Exactly. All right, well, we have Royce O'Neal at the podium. We're going to toss to him now.
All right, we'll go ahead and get started front right with Gerald.
PHNX Sports, good to see you, and congrats on the contract extension.
Appreciate it.
I just want to get your thoughts, if you could walk us through kind of, you know, I know when we had last spoken, you had said, you know, I want to be here, but we'll figure that out when the time comes. Can you just kind of walk us through that free agency process and what ultimately led to you coming back?
Yeah, I mean, you know,
definitely wanted to be here at the end of the season. Taking that process, thinking it through, speaking with the team, agency, and everything. And it was just the best fit for me. I feel like after last year, we had a bad exit. And just running it back and adding more, this year and, being a part of something special that we have going on.
Royce Dwayne Rankin, Arizona Republic. I'm curious, with you now getting a full start to finish season with the group, what are you seeing with the guys that were brought in and then the guys that came back, and how you feel like this will all work out as a whole?
I know we added a lot of pieces, especially veterans, leadership, got addressed our needs that we, had this summer. And I think, just the exciting part is having a new team, new coaches, and having that full year. It's going to be a lot of fun. And, just seeing all the things that we're capable of doing, it's going to be exciting.
Royce, Kellen Olsen, Arizona Sports. Nice to see you again. You and Grayson coming off the bench, it's like that 6th and 7th starter thing you guys are going to have going. In your experience in those roles, when you don't know how many minutes you're going to get, it'll be 20 some nights, 35 the other nights. How do you stay within yourself and stay composed in those roles?
Just being who I am. Whether it's 5 minutes, 10, the whole game. However long I'm playing, that's, I'm going to bring that toughness, compete every moment. Whether I'm starting or coming off the bench, my mentality and everything don't change for me.
Hi, Royce. Great to see you. My name is Sam Valenti. I'm with C-Tray Sports. KD has talked about how it was a bit of a tough transition for him going from fast-paced New York to here in Phoenix, not quite as fast-paced here. You also came here from Brooklyn, like KD. So now that you've been here for a while, you've been able to get accustomed to the surroundings in Phoenix. What do you enjoy most about living here?
I'll say the weather. I'm glad that I'm not going to be in any cold places anymore. And I think just everything, the fans, being able to explore like restaurants, outdoor adventures. It's a great place to be. So, I started in Utah, then went to Brooklyn, and here. So I think I did a whole whirlwind.
Hey, Royce, Brendan Clean with the Locked on Suns podcast. Just when you look back at that playoff series last year, obviously Grayson goes down and that kind of throws a wrench in things, but just what was your kind of impression thinking through during the summer of where you guys fell short and kind of what needs to improve next time you guys get that chance in the postseason?
I think just everybody staying healthy. Of course, injuries are part of the game. And then I think just, when one person go down, it's the next mentality, next person up. So I think just, being prepared for those situations, especially having a whole year, is going to be great for us.
It's Gerald Bourguet down here again. I just wanted to get your thoughts. What have your conversations with Coach Bud been like so far, and what impressions has he given you in terms of, we've heard wanting to get up more threes, but the style that you guys want to play in?
Just playing faster, playing together as a team. We have a lot of guys who do a lot of different things. So I think just the position that he's going to put guys in to succeed is going to benefit the team.
Here, Brendan. Wasn't lying, Dwayne. All right, we'll get started with questions. Gerald, you want to start us off?
Sure. Hey, Book. Gerald Bourguet, PHNX Sports. First off, congrats on another gold medal.
Thank you.
I just wanted to get your thoughts. I know that you and Al obviously developed a special relationship during your time here. Just wanted to get your thoughts on his passing and the relationship you were able to build with him over the years.
Al is the historian of this franchise. He was here from day one, and somebody that I grew super close to over time, somebody that I view as a really good friend of mine, and obviously tough for all of us. But he's embedded in this culture and in this city forever. So it's like losing a family member for a lot of us.
All right, everyone, welcome back. We have Mason Plumlee joining us on set. Tom, do you want to start it off with the news of...
All right. So usually I'm saving it to the end, like who's the sleeper on this team.
Mm-hmm.
But I got to tell you, you are one of the sleepers. I've been asking, okay, on this roster, like who are Suns fans going to be excited to see play? And not surprised, Mason, because your older brother Miles was on this team.
Yeah.
So we know from a human being standpoint, how much we're going to enjoy it. But what does that mean when your teammates and even the executives know what kind of an impact you can have on the team this year?
It means a lot, honestly, and that's, why I was thrilled to sign here in the offseason. I got to talk to Coach and James early, and I was just excited about the opportunity to come and play with this roster. Like, I think there's so much talent, so much potential, and it's something that I wanted to be a part of.
You also had mentioned, too, during your presser, Coach Bud, and that was a huge draw
Yeah.
for you as well. What in particular was the draw with him as a coach and just his overall style?
Sure. It's interesting. I never really talked, even though I've been in the league for a long time, I never talked to him that much. But I think you just respect, he's won everywhere he's been, right? Atlanta, Milwaukee. Like, he's been a winner, and he seems to have a formula or a way to play that is successful where, if you give him enough time. So, I kind of considered that. Plus,
we also have Royce joining us as well. I was wondering how long that was going to take.
I guess you guys are bonding already.
Yeah. But yeah, those, and then I got to talk to him, and, he just thought it would be a good fit, and I did too. So I was happy to join.
I've loved your game ever since, going back to Portland. Obviously in Denver, we'll talk about you and Monte Morris as well. But just as a facilitator too, a playmaker, how do you see yourself and Nurk, who has some of those same qualities too? Great passing, big man, can play out high. How do you see the two of you working together in tandem for this team?
Yeah, well, I think it could be really good because there's so much shooting and scoring on the floor. And people say playmaker, but Coach, he used the term shot creator. So I think it was like the screening, running, flare screens, handoffs, like just different ways to get all that, kind of unlock all that scoring that's already out there. And then, between me and Nurk, like while we both think that way in a sense, I think it's interesting to have, he's a bigger bruiser, like bigger body, and it could be a different punch if I come off and I play a little faster and run the floor a little harder, those kind of things. So, I've been on teams where the bigs are very similar, and I think it's actually more advantageous to have some differences between, kind of the starter and the backup. So hopefully that gives us a different look too.
Training camp is right around the corner with this team in preseason. What are you looking forward to the most? And I don't want to say even what you're trying to prove, but how, when you join a new team, building that chemistry.
Yeah.
What's the key for doing that and kind of gelling quickly?
Yeah, I think in the preseason it's been so fun just to play pickup, and you get a feel for like what your teammates can do and where they're at. But just to bring some structure to it, the coaches now jump in and they give us a little a little instruction and kind of how they see it. So I'm looking forward to learning that.
All right, last one, 2013-14 season with Miles, who had just a magical season. The Suns overall with Jeff Hornacek as their head coach. When you signed with the Suns, what was Miles' message to you about living in Phoenix and playing for Suns fans?
Well, he loved it here. I think if you were to ask him, this would be probably his favorite year of the NBA. He established himself as a player. In that team, I don't think expectations were high at the start, and they played so well, and it was a really tough West that year. So he loved it here, and I think he'll tune into some games this year.
Is he still bouncing up and down on his unicycle?
Somewhere, yeah.
Somewhere. That was one of our favorite features that season.
Yeah,
Nice of him to do that. And not to get hurt. We would have all gotten in trouble.
Right.
It would have been terrible. Yeah.
That's funny.
Awesome. Mason, thank you so
Thanks
much.
for
We
having me on.
appreciate the
Thanks,
time.
Mason.
Great to see you as
Great
always.
to have you here.
Thanks.
That was before your time, Amanda. But yes, Miles Plumlee could actually ride a unicycle, and we had him kind of bouncing up and down. Like he could actually go from ground level and bounce up onto a bench.
That's pretty incredible.
And so while we're taping that, we're like, if he falls, we are in big trouble. We're in big trouble. It wasn't my idea if he fell. We're going to throw one of our producers under the bus on that one. As we are joined now by the new starting point guard of the Phoenix Suns. How about that? How does that sound?
Sounds great.
Yeah.
First
great to
media
have you
day,
here.
though,
Yeah.
is a Phoenix Suns member. How's it been going for you so far?
It's been great. So far, so good. Excited to be here. First one in Phoenix, so I'm looking forward to it.
And I know those discussions happen right away as far as you being the starting point guard, but I find it really interesting and powerful too that Coach Bud has come out and said, this is my starting five. Let's go to training camp. Everybody knows their roles because they're like, oh, who's going to come off the bench? Who was starting last year? What did that mean for you, for Coach Bud to go, no, here are the keys, take off?
It's huge. It's huge as a point guard. Being comfortable is an important factor. You got to be an extension of coach out there on the court. So your guys' relationship, first and foremost, has to be on point. But yeah, it also, I think, what people aren't necessarily, maybe they're not realizing is we have so many different guys that can start, and so I think that speaks to the depth that we have on this roster, and it's a good problem to have. But yeah, just having that clarity, for myself, for guys with their roles, I think it's huge. And but at the end of the day, we're all here for one goal, and no matter who starts, who finishes games, how many shots you get, it's about winning at the end of the day, and that's what everyone's trying to do.
You had said during your introduction presser, what drew you to this team, relationships. I know Josh Bartelstein, that was something that he was really heavily involved in the high care factor.
Yeah.
You're also, joining your former teammate, Grayson Allen.
Yep.
How has the offseason been for you two, communication-wise and getting set for tomorrow?
Yeah, it's been huge. Back with G, I'm excited about that. He played a huge part in recruiting me, honestly, just calling me. I came down here for a visit. You spend a lot of time with him, just talking through different stuff, with the team. He came out right away and said, look, I want you to come here and start. If that means me coming off the bench, don't worry about that.
Wow.
So, that just speaks to his character. And that's part of the, guy and player he is. He's team first. Always has been, always will be. But yeah, for me, it's exciting just because we have a great chemistry on the court, off the court. That's my brother. Has been for 10 plus years now. It's crazy to say. And I'm looking forward to sharing the court with him again because I know, we can be dynamic.
Do you get tired of hearing the assist to turnover stat, even though you now own that category? I mean, my problem is I've been researching this since I did the game last year against Washington, and I think I had you at 6 seasons of leading it, and I thought now maybe you're at 7. Then in the Forbes magazine, they said 5 straight seasons.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it's a new NBA record because
Yeah.
Chris Paul led in assist to turnover ratio 4 times. You've already beaten that. What does it mean for you to go into season and to have a reputation like that with a new team?
Yeah.
And also how important it is, because I think you even give so much credit to your mom.
Yeah.
Like how protecting her purse, I think, was something like you used as an analogy.
Yeah, it's for me as a point guard, it's just a point guard mindset. Not turning the ball over. It goes back to honestly, my mom, continued to teach me the game when I was younger. As a point guard, just don't turn the ball over. That's something that you have to value each possession. Typically the team with the least amount of turnovers wins the game, but they definitely have a higher chance of winning the game if you get, more shots, more possessions, things like that. So for me, it's just been something that I've always kind of prided myself on, and, setting the record every year or however many seasons in a row it's been, that's not, the goal per se for me, but I also do pride myself on not turning the ball over and trying to make sure we get quality looks more often than not. And, whatever numbers come with it. I try not to, it seems as whenever someone, gets a chance to tell me throughout the season, you have a stretch of this many games without a turnover or this many minutes, I always have one probably pretty soon in that next game. Just so it's something that I try not to pay attention to, but I just show up every night and try to, give our team the best chance of winning.
One number I do know is correct, because I actually back-checked this, was 66 games with the Wizards. Obviously, a young team, kind of loose at times, but you as the direct, 66 games that you played, 66 turnovers. That's insane. That's just crazy.
It's
Anyway.
probably a few too many. Probably a few too many. I
Mom's
know
not happy with that.
There's some of those that I can watch back and say, gotta be
you
better.
You are a perfectionist.
Try to be.
Entering training camp tomorrow, and expectations are that you are running the point. What is the I guess, keys for you learning your teammates and kind of developing that chemistry quickly? I know you have already that relationship with Grace and Allen, but the other key guys as well.
Just spending time on and off the court with the guys, trying to study their games. Been here the last couple weeks, so being in the gym with them, just asking a bunch of questions. For me, I'm just trying to, ask Book, ask Katie, ask Brad, ask the rest of the guys, like, where they like the ball, what side of the floor they like to, be on, which way, or, what are they looking for in this situation, stuff like that. So just trying to, pick their brains and just pay attention to everything. So it can make my job easier, and so I can be better at my job. And also, we have so much talent that I'm gonna be being a little bit different of a role as well. I'm doing some different things from a point guard standpoint that I might not have done a whole lot of, and that's good for me as well to continue to elevate my game and continue to help me grow as a player as well. So I'm looking forward to that, and just looking forward to, continuing to grow our chemistry. It takes time. It's not going to happen overnight, but the great thing about all of these guys is everyone's a, basketball purist. They love basketball. They love the game. We're in the gym. We're talking about the game. We're talking about ways to get better. So, the chemistry will come.
Not only do the Suns have one point guard, they have two with Monte Morris.
Yeah.
What's that relationship like? Do you guys sit down with the playbook and kind of talk strategy and figure out how each of you are going to kind of play off of each other?
Yeah, me and Tay have known each other just from playing against each other the last few years, and looking forward to continuing to push each other to improve, get better. We have similar play styles, so that's also great. Just because we look at the game very similar. We approach the game very similar. And so, we sit down, we talk about what each other, might have seen on that last play or might be looking for, things like that. And, we'll continue to do so throughout the year. And it's nice having another point guard on the team who approaches the game, like you do.
You've seen playbooks. How big is Bud's? Big, normal?
I'm going to keep that in-house. I'll keep that in-house.
Yeah.
Awesome, Tyus. Well, great to see you again. We can't wait to have training camp start tomorrow. You're going to be seeing a lot of us at all the practices.
For sure.
So
That sounds great. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tyus.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, that is. It is exciting though to have the 2 point guards, and after the conversation that we had, thanks, Tyus, with Bradley Beal and Book and KD. I mean, you can just feel this kind of sense of relief. I mean, that this offense that Coach Bud is creating is in such good hands. Again, with Tyus and Monte Morris, and it was such, an object of discussion all season long. And now to have these two guys that come in so confident and with so much support of the star players and the head coach and up and down, the organization, it's going to make a huge difference. It's obvious.
Yeah, and he mentioned even just the clarity of knowing, kind of starting training camp, knowing the starting five, and just kind of how that'll alleviate all the guessing. They can go in, just focus on that. I think that's going to be huge for this team of just being able to, develop them, but then also have them feed to each other's strengths out there as well.
And Tyus, going back, it was a great article in Forbes too, talking about him signing with the Suns, calling him the best bargain in free agency this past summer. Now, that's kind of two sides to that, meaning he took a lot less money than maybe he was hoping for. But at the same time, I mean, Mat Ishbia and Josh Bartlestein, James Jones all talked about that recruitment of Tyus Jones continues this year, signing a 1-year contract. But for him to walk into this situation when, again, he probably had expectations of more years, more money, but he's so comfortable here with this team and knowing that the success that he hopes and knows is going to come through this season will just kind of elevate that status even more going into next summer.
And I think too, I think it says too what the guys have been saying, what's drawn them to the Suns as well as Coach Bud, and just that winning mentality, things that little details that he's implementing, wanting to bring them.
Knowing the name of the family members. I mean, Josh Bartlestein started ticking down the wife's name, the kids' names. I mean, for all the players, too. I mean, it's not a smokescreen. It's legit. And these players know. They've been around the league for a long time. They've usually played for 2, 3, maybe 4 different teams, so they know when it's genuine.
And we're going to be hearing from Grayson Allen in a little bit, too. So we're going to have to talk about just that connection that he has, too, from I guess we're actually not going to be hearing from Grayson Allen. Sorry. We had so many questions for him, too. I wanted to ask him about working out at Duke. And
we have a lot more questions for them, and we have all week at training camp starting tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to it. It's great. We're going to be able to be there and at practices and be able to share that with all the fans. Great working with you. That was a lot of fun.
Yes, thank you so much for Tom Leander. I'm Amanda Pflugrad.
Yep.
We'll be seeing you guys tomorrow.
All right, we'll go ahead and get started here. Front right with Gerald.
Hey, Grayson, Joe Bourget, PHNX Sports. Good to see you.
You too.
I'm just curious. You've been a starter for most of your career. Obviously, you helped recruit Tyus Jones to come here. How are you kind of approaching what will likely be a six-man role with the team this year?
Yeah, I mean, had a great year last year, and I feel like I've gotten better. So, me looking at Tyus being the starter, like that, I just feel like our team got a lot better. Like I'm still the same player, better player. So, I'm happy our team got a lot better. I'm happy Tyus is on our team. I'm looking forward to how we look out there, having him as our point guard. So I couldn't be more excited to have him on our team, and I'm okay with what comes with that.
Sorry about that. I got it. Grayson, just to follow up with that, you obviously became a full-time starter, not just this year, but probably the last 3 years. So that conversation you had with Mike about that, because you started for him. So what was that like, and what was like maybe how you guys talked that out, or what were those conversations like in that regard?
I think he knew I would be good with it, so I gave him a hard time, just jokingly. But it was there wasn't much of a conversation. I think we're gonna have a great team with Tyus out there as the point guard. And I know we had a lot of talks last year about, like, does this team need a point guard? And a lot of times I was kind of the guy who thought no, but there's not many guys out there like Tyus. Not a whole lot of point guards out there that play like Tyus. So I really think he is the perfect fit for our team. I think our team is better with him at the point. So I didn't give him a lot of pushback. It was a pretty quick conversation.
Grayson, Kellen Olsen, Arizona Sports, great to see you again. Have noticed you have bulked up, I guess, as the phrase goes. What was the intentionality behind that, just with basketball in mind specifically?
Yeah, I mean, each off season I've put on a little bit of muscle. And this off season I started lifting a little bit sooner than I have in the past. So a little bit of it was unintentional. But the goal for me ever since 4 years ago now, when I had my hip injury, was just continue to build strength, lower body, have a good base. And so a little bit for me, I've always felt good with a little bit more strength, a little bit more weight, a little bit more muscle. So I know I think my listed weight is still like 195 or something, and I'm nowhere close to that. So around 230. So we might need to finally update that. So a lot of just like game-to-game soreness. I feel like being stronger helps with that. Being able to guard bigger guys, being stronger helps with that. And then like I've had a lot of little injuries, hamstring injuries, hip injuries, all that throughout my career. And last season, like each year I've gotten stronger. I've played more games, played more minutes. Last year being 75 games, at I think over 30 minutes a game. So I just think having that base of strength has helped me a lot with durability throughout a season.
Grayson, Doug Howler at The Athletic. Good to see you. Earlier, Mat Ishbia was talking about how great a fit Coach Bud was for this team. You've been with him. Why do you think he's a good fit for this Suns team?
Well, he preaches a lot of threes, and I know that's something we want to get more up, and was a weak point of our team last year, and the attempts that we got up. We have a lot of great shooters. We just need to find ways to get more attempts up. I think his personality and coaching style fits the team really well. He's obviously a great coach, very experienced, a championship coach. So I think he's perfect for our team, our goals, and what we feel like we need to do.
Grayson, Richard Sines, Fox 10, good to see you again. You kind of touched on the chemistry of this team, and you go out and kind of recruit Tyus, and Bradley Beal said it's going to help him. Just talk about the chemistry on this team and how you feel about this team moving forward. Coach talked about guys were working out, you guys were kind of hooping up already before this camp even starts.
Yeah, I mean, I think with our group, continuity just is going to help tremendously. Last season, a little tougher because of injuries for a team that was pretty new, put together, like to not be able to get those reps in. So having a year, a full season under our belt with some of the guys that were added last year, being able to work a few weeks before training camp. Like last year, my first time stepping on the court in the practice facility was day one of training camp. So I think all that helps with our chemistry. The way we want to play offensively, the way we want to communicate defensively and cover for each other defensively. Like you have to have some sense of chemistry and togetherness. So time always helps with that.
Hey Grayson, Brendan Clean, Locked On Suns podcast. You mentioned right when you sat down you want to be an even better player this year. What other things aside from the physical stuff you were talking about with Kellen do you think you're going to be able to bring this year that we haven't seen before?
I've done a lot of screening and rolling in the preseason, which is a little new for me. But I think if kind of you look around the league, a lot of teams that are having success offensively kind of have positionless basketball. And I think that will help with a lot of our switching if matchup dependent guys setting screens, but not just setting screens to get the switch, but setting the screen to get an attack out of it, being a good screener, having angles, and then just continuing to improve offensively, like being a secondary playmaker. I know a lot of games, like once you start getting run off the three-point line, you have to be a decision maker in the paint. So last year I felt like I did a pretty good job. I need to be a part of cutting down on turnovers. So need to be a low turnover guy, very efficient guy, passing the ball or scoring the guy in the paint.
Grayson. Hey there, Bob Hune from Associated Press. Good to see you again. A lot of talk about the team shooting more threes. I'm thinking if there's anyone on this team that might be really happy about that, it would be you.
Yeah.
Will that change your game at all, though? Because what you seem to do is just take what's given to you. But now with the emphasis on more threes, will you try to just intentionally shoot more or just keep that mindset of just whatever happens within the game?
Yeah, it's a balance. Like I'd love to say like I want to get 9 threes up a game. It's really hard to do. And so I think there is a balance between like when you're on the court with Kev, Book, Brad, there's all these weapons around you. Like I could easily get out there and just have the mindset of getting a lot of threes up. But a lot of times there's a better shot on the floor, which is last year I feel like I did a good job instead of forcing some of them getting into the paint. And most of the time if you get into the paint, draw an extra defender, it ends up for a 3 for someone else. But I think everyone on the team, all the shooters on the team are definitely going to have a mindset of getting more up. So that might be earlier in the clock. It might be off the dribble and the pick and roll instead of the bigs and drop coverage. Nurk's a great screener, finding those pocket threes, stuff like that. So, I hope that I get more up, but I hope us as a team, we're in the top 5 of attempts around the league.
Hey, Grayson, Shane Young with Forbes. I'm just curious, you're playing with Tyus at Duke and Memphis. In what ways do you see that he's going to be able to create advantages for you and then also the big three?
He's that guy that when you play with, you always have to be ready for the ball. He kicks it ahead early. He always makes the right, simple, easy play. He's a great passer, so he can make the tough passes too. I think kind of underrated is his threat to be a scorer off the pick and roll, which is what allows him to be such a good passer. But you always got to be ready to get the ball early. And he creates a lot of opportunities for the guys around him to play off of closeouts. So when he has the ball, it's those early kick-aheads. If he sees anyone helping, he's pitching the ball, and that creates opportunities for us to be ready to catch and shoot or be ready to play with a little bit of an advantage because you have a guy flying at you.
Okay, I didn't know.
You already got your question.
I need another one. Thank you, sir. Your question about top 5 teams shooting threes, you made me get on the internet and look up. Boston led the league in 42.5. Milwaukee was 5th, 38.1. You guys attempted 32 threes last year. Do you see that top 5 number you guys can reach? That would be 6 more threes, 6 to 8 more threes.
Yeah, it's one extra person in the top 6 players. It's not that crazy to think about.
All right. Thanks, Grayson.
Thanks, guys.
Sorry about that. First, congrats on winning gold. And then second, you wearing the patch, obviously, to get on the jersey. What's that going to mean for you this season to have him basically with you from start to finish?
Yeah, it means something to me. Means a lot to me. I heard rumblings of getting Shazam on there. I think that would have been iconic. But yeah, I think it's my job to further communicate to the guys that haven't been here, how important this patch is and how much it means to the city. And we're going to wear it with great honor.
Was when you look at just the roster moves that was made, particularly Tyus, him being a point guard and you can get back to being off the ball, what's that going to mean for you and for the team as a whole?
I mean, me and Tyus go back to 2014 draft class. So somebody that I've had a close relationship for a long time. And, we can say it how it is. We got him for a steal.
I remember the news being broke while we were at USA, and all the guys in the locker room was like, man, how did y'all get that done? But something I'm super excited about, obviously, not only everyone talks about the assist turnover ratio, but he's definitely not someone you can leave open either. So he's just a true ultimate winner, and I'm glad that, he's on a stage now where he can show it.
Well, Doug Haller with The Athletic. Are there any lessons from Paris that you can apply to this upcoming season, just with how you guys came together as a team and won?
I mean, yeah, that's the name of the game. The quicker you can find that chemistry, and it took us a little bit out in Paris, and we were tested to the highest degree, but I think our chemistry got us over the hump. We all believed all the way through, even down 13 to start the fourth quarter versus Serbia. We just stuck together. Everybody was obviously not in their normal roles, and we wanted to do other things to help contribute, and that's what we did.
Book, Kellen Olson, Arizona Sports. Good to see you back here.
Good to see you.
With the big three, as they're called, you, Brad, and Kevin, just what do you build on from last year and take into this year that worked, didn't work, and just how much that second year as opposed to the first year of that dynamic is going to help you guys?
Yeah, I think going out in the fashion that we did is something that, you don't want to just blow by and act like it never happened. Something that we have to accept and use as motivation. So I always say experience is the best teacher, and, we have that terrible experience under our belt and use it for motivation from here on out.
Hey, Book. Shane Young with Forbes. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
I'm curious, what's some of the early impressions you've had with Coach Bud? I'm assuming you've probably talked to him quite a bit over the summer.
Yeah, he's a hell of a golfer. We actually got around in, and he's a competitor. We obviously seen a lot of him in the finals run, and he just wants to win. So, I'm rallying behind him. What he says, that's always been my motto. He wants to lead, and we want to follow.
Doug Franz Unplugged podcast. Book, I know the first two questions were about Al, but I know how much it meant to him when you walked out of the locker room to watch him get inducted into the Ring of Honor. Do you mind opening up about a story of 18, 19-year-old Book talking to Al on a plane or on a bus and how he helped you become a professional?
Oh, yeah, we had plenty of those conversations. And, my question was him, man, what still drives you, man? How are you still on all these flights with us? How are you catching all these games? And just further understanding, the history of what he's done and, how the game has evolved. And, the only way to hear a basketball game or not even see it was to hear his voice. So that's why I say he's embedded in a lot of the people's lives here, and that's why it feels like a family member. That was the only source of Phoenix Suns basketball, and, to me still is.
Hey, Book. Dana Scott, Arizona Republic. Congratulations on the gold medal.
Thank you.
Two-part question about you entering year 10. Now that you're entering the second half of your career, do you talk with Kevin about how to prepare and basically managing your body in certain ways that players at that age have to do in entering the second half, even though you're very young still? And the second part of that is with having Oso and Ty Ty on the team, there's two Phoenix natives. You called Ty Ty a special talent a couple years ago, and he was at your alma mater, Kentucky. So what's that like having Arizona guys on the team to help impact this, the roster?
The first part of the question, I'd say I'm always a sponge. You'll see, guys all have their different type of ways to stay healthy, and Katie is obviously somebody that, I've watched closely going into, 18 for him, 19? And he's just a hooper. I think his love for the game is what keeps him going. And I've had plenty of guys around. Chris was a guy that, was over-obsessive about his body and taking care of his body. So I take bits and pieces from, everybody I'm around and just try to implement it. But, I still do feel really good. I feel I'm reaching those prime type feeling years, body-wise. And then on to the next question was about Oso and Ty. Yeah, I mean, I think that's that's not a normal situation to, get drafted to your hometown team or be in the market of your hometown team. So, they understand the importance of Phoenix Suns basketball, and, I'm going to do my job to, be a leader and, give them any bits and pieces that I've picked up along the way.
Bob? Hey, Book. Bob Hune, Associated Press. First of all, going back to Al, one of the coolest pictures, and we talked about this, was with you and Al walking back. Do you remember, which one we talked about?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have that picture? Do you get a copy of that?
I didn't get a copy of it, but, social media makes it just save photo. And it's favorited also.
And what has to happen this year that didn't happen last year? What's the biggest difference this year for you guys to take the next step?
I mean, it's hard to narrow it down to one. I think we were trying to figure out and learn throughout, the whole season, including the postseason. So, just come in more prepared, come in more competitive. We just, we have to be on it. It's a tough league. It's a tough conference, and, we understand what we're going against, and, we feel like we have the talent. We feel like we have the coaching staff. We feel like we have, all the pieces to get to where we're trying to go.
Hey, Devin. Luis Torres here with Nice Kicks. After, a full season with the Book 1, a lot of fun colorways, a little PE going on right now. What can we expect this upcoming season, and Book 2 in the works? What's that looking like?
Yeah. Book 2 is definitely in the works, but a lot of more Book 1s this year. And I'm just going to continue to try to tell my story, man. I think, I've kept it consistent with every colorway that drops is, either been Phoenix inspired or Arizona inspired or, some type of story from my past. And, a lot of the Book 1s, especially with the PEs, have been colorways that you've seen before from the past. And that's just me paying homage, understanding, sneakers were super important to me growing up and definitely still are now. So paying homage to those colorways, those silhouettes that, have shaped the game and changed the sneaker culture forever.
Last one with the Book, Annie.
Devin, Annie Myers, Drysdale Suns broadcast.
Where you at, Annie? There you go.
Can you talk a little bit about, the relationships? Talk about Kevin, and congratulations on the Olympics too. But
thank you.
Being that with Diana Taurasi and the relationship that you've had with her 20 years, and what she has done and impacted you in the game.
Yeah, I mean, since day one, Diana has the energy and the spirit, like she's ready to play tomorrow. So, they say she's retiring. I don't know. I hope not, because that has definitely been a staple for me, throughout my whole career here is, just even the short conversations of passing in the locker rooms or passing in the weight rooms. And, obviously, like I said, being a historian of the game, understanding that she's paved the way for this whole next generation that's coming up. And, she set the bar so high that, they probably won't be able to reach.
Thanks, Book.
Yeah, appreciate it.
All right, questions for KD?
Hey, Kev, Joe Bourget, PHNX Sports down here. Congrats on the gold medal.
Oh, my bad.
No, you're good. Congrats on the gold medal. I was just curious, from your conversations with Mike Budenholzer, how have those gone, and what do you kind of anticipate when you look forward to this season in terms of how you guys want to play?
Coach just getting to know each one of his players individually as people first, and once we all get on the court starting tomorrow, we kind of get a feel for each other on the floor. But Bud and the staff has been really cool. They're just trying to get to know one another. I mean, it's kind of hard to figure out your identity as a team throughout the summer when you first get a job and finding your staff and trying to understand the players on your team. So these last 2 weeks of us getting some pickup games in, being around each other, was key for us. And we got to understand one another, understand the coaching staff and what they want from us, and hopefully, now we can move forward with training camp and preseason games and kind of build out who we are.
Yes, Kevin, Dwayne Rankin, Arizona Republic. First, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Second, I'm curious when you look at the season in terms of what you guys brought in the offseason. Tyus, Monte, Plumlee. How do you like those fits with the group? It's basically essentially pretty much all from last year. And then too, just how do you even approach when you may be up for an extension? How do you even do it mentally? Do you even just say, I'm gonna go play and whatever happens? How do you process all that?
Your first question is always good adding players to your team that are veterans with high IQ that can actually still provide good minutes for you. Tyus, Monte, Mason, you got a couple other guys, the rookies, the guys, Oso, Ryan, Jalen. We got guys that can come in and that can still provide us a good spark that are different, got different skill sets. So looking forward to building with them. As far as extension, I'm 2 years out I got 2 years left on my contract. I'm focused on being the best that I can every day in the moment, and we'll figure that stuff out when it's time.
Katie, Richard Sines, Fox 10, good to see you again. Congrats on the gold.
Thank you.
You talked about, some of the new additions. Matt talked about some of these guys took less money, could have got more money somewhere else. What does that say about the culture that you guys have kind of established here and about the individual person that's putting winning first?
Yeah, you got to give those guys the most credit for seeing past money and wanting to be in a situation where they can help build towards something special. Credit to the front office and the staff for, letting those guys know who we are, even though we didn't finish the season the way we wanted to. When you have a good front office and a good culture, you can still speak to guys regardless of that, and that's what they did throughout the summer. And also the city of Phoenix helped us out as well. So many players love coming here, love playing here, love being here, so that helps us out as well. So having new additions to the team is a plus, and now we're looking forward to seeing how it works on the floor.
Kevin, how do you envision Tyus contributing to the chemistry amongst you, Booker, and Bill?
Just another veteran presence that been around great players throughout his career. Played in different roles where he was coming off the bench, had to fill in for guys that were injured, got traded to a Washington team where he had to assume the starting role. So he's been in different situations, and so a guy who's seen a lot in this league is always good. And so being around the last 2 weeks, seeing his game, being able to figure out how I can help as well has been fun. So I'm looking forward to practice.
Mark McClune, Arizona's Family Sports, good to see you. I wonder if you could describe the feeling of standing up on the podium winning gold this summer, and if that feeling at all, did that reinforce anything of getting back to the grind here and chasing a championship in the NBA?
No, I wouldn't say it reinforced anything. It's always good to win and feel winning and understand what goes into it, how much of a grind it is. Even though that was a condensed period, it's just a month. We crammed a lot of stuff in for that month, so it was good on the brain to understand what it takes every day to become a winner. Sometimes you can go through the motions a bit throughout your career when you haven't been on that podium sometimes. So it's good to refresh the brain a bit. But that's always the goal when you've been in this league so long and you have experience winning and being on top, that, regardless of what happened last season, that's still always the goal. But being around some of the best players in the world of all time, and then some of the best athletes throughout the whole world and representing in my country was unmatched. So I had a great time.
Kevin, Doug Haller with The Athletic. You mentioned how things finished last year. When things don't go the way you like and you get swept, does that stick with you throughout an off season, motivate you? I mean, is it always there, or do you move past it pretty quickly?
Yeah, you tend to move past it. I mean, it's a long summer, man. We lose in April. I'm not going to be thinking about it in June, July, You figure out, you understand what went into the season and why the outcome was the outcome, and move on from there. Have it all that takes, to be honest. So I try to figure that out pretty quickly and seeing how I can add to, making things different and go from there.
Kevin, Luis Torres with Nice Kicks. Obviously, things got a little tense between you and Nike with the whole winning isn't for everyone campaign, and then am I a bad person? No, you're the baddest. Have you guys talked? How's everything? KD 18 coming up. How's that looking?
Yeah, everything's on schedule, just like it always is. Sometimes you have conversations like that amongst family and move on.
Kevin, Dana Scott, Arizona Republic, congratulations on the gold medal. Boy.
Oh, my bad. Thank you.
Two-part questions. Thinking about how you had some rotation in the lineups in last season where you played sometimes with the second unit, how do you feel that if Grayson being possibly moved to the second unit and Bowl coming back, how they can impact the team together? And also the second part of that is you grew up in the D.C. area, and Dikembe Mutombo just died this morning. So growing up around that Georgetown second wave of Hoya paranoia, you very young, you probably remember Iverson Moore, but what would you say about that Georgetown team in that area and what it did for the city?
Yeah, rest in peace to Dikembe Mutombo. Was a iconic figure in the basketball world as I was growing up. Like you mentioned, playing in Washington, D.C., Georgetown area, a lot of those big men have left a mark on basketball in that area, dating back to the late 80s, early 90s, and Dikembe was one of those guys. And then have an opportunity to play against him in the NBA and meet him in different events and just see the type of person he was. It reinforced that our great people walking around here every day, regardless of status, regardless of how successful you are, he still remained true to who he was as a person. And I appreciated that every time I seen him. My condolences out to his family, friends, everybody that knew him. That's a huge loss. If you ever met Dikembe, he just brightened up the whole room. So, and I wasn't even that tight with him, and, so I'm sure so many people going through a lot of emotions right now. So he meant so much to the game, and rest in peace.
Annie, last one.
Kevin, congratulations on your 4th Olympic
Thank you.
medal and leading the USA in scoring. But, you were there for more than half of Diana Taurasi's 6 times at the Olympics. And talk about the impact she had on you as an Olympian and then her work ethic here in Phoenix.
Yeah, DT has done so much for basketball as a whole. I remember her as a high school, middle school player, her setting an example for basketball in the women's game, introducing some people to the women's game when she was coming out of UConn, and to be with one franchise her whole career and reach the pinnacle and all-time leading scorer. Did she play 20 years in the league? 20 years, championships, gold medals, done it all. It's still DT that I met 15 years ago. So I appreciate what she's brought to the game of basketball, this area in Phoenix and the whole Arizona. And I think she still got some time left. I think she got a couple more years to play. But we'll see. Even if she doesn't, she can walk away with her head held high for what she's done to the game.
Thanks, Kevin. We'll have Bradley Beal up right now.